Hello and welcome to our coverage of the fourth best Australian LRG that exists to date, as voted by you, the fans and the community of the Australian LRGs. It is Sydney Survivor as the recency bias piles its way into the top four. You can't control what people want to vote for, and it had just finished almost when we started this countdown about a year ago when we got the votes, and obviously it was fresh on everyone's mind. Not to diminish it at all, it's a fantastic season. I've just gone and rewatched it myself, and I must say everything that I remembered about it stands true. Incredible cast, incredible gameplay, some of the worst challenges you're going to see in any of these productions, and some poor hosting mistakes in terms of puzzle completion and other issues. And we went into them in a lot of detail when we did the show coverage originally, and I'm sure we'll get into that again. But it remains an incredibly strong first season. I think it deserves to be the best first season as per this rankings, while Brisbane had a higher production value and an incredible editing and production effort, and some fantastic challenges, actually. The challenges in Brisbane were fantastic. The overall entertainment package, the gameplay of Brisbane was not on the level that this Sydney Survivor was. And I think that, therefore, this deserves its place as the top first season in our coverage. Obviously had a lot of learnings from the other things that were done, and obviously a fantastic cast, but such a get to have the winner of Australian Survivor 1 on the season. What an incredible way of boosting its profile. Canberra Survivor Season 2, which we're yet to cover, you think they might have reached the apex by having a jury member, post-merge jury member from Australian Survivor Season 1 show up for a challenge and a reward. To get someone to actually play was incredible, though I think it was more on her than them chasing her to be on it. But we will be talking to Kristie in our coverage. We can look forward to that. We're doing a deep dive of why someone who won the real thing would take the punt on coming on something like this for her reputation and her performance. I can't wait to do that, chat. Well said, the tea party, of course. I'll be catching up later this week. It's a double podcast this week as I catch up with Sam, the winner, and talk about his fantastic game. And we're rounding out the coverage with the awards, which are open. Can Ethan win the Bromelo again? Last time it was just the committee of ORCAs that decided Ethan should win. And now you, the fans, get your chance to decide, is Ethan the most deserving of the Bromelo medal? It'd be hilarious if he doesn't actually win it now that we're doing the proper coverage, though he probably still deserves to on having just rewatched his behavior. Now, before we get into the coverage, today we're going to be doing our full recap, and joining me, as always, but one of these things, is my partner in crime, Jules. Welcome, Jules.
Hello. Yes, I missed one. I've been here for all the others.
Which one did you miss?
Melbourne 2.
You're not a fan of Melbourne 2.
I missed it because I was at work, but I'm also not a fan of it.
I think it will be low in your rankings. And Jules is going to normally I do the play-by-play of the season, but Jules is going to be doing the heavy lifting on this one. Looking forward to hearing your play-by-play. I believe you've got a great set of notes that we can go through. I hope they've been compressed. They've
been compressed, yes.
Week by week notes. But I have done a rewatch myself. I just didn't have time to make notes while I did the rewatch. Normally we have some time in between seasons where we do this more detailed watch where I take all my notes, but we're trying to get through this, but also give it the amount of time it deserves before Canberra Survivor drops at the end of the month. So really exciting to be getting into this and then leaving the top three undetermined, unknown, who knows what gold, silver, and bronze are until there's not coverage. And I think we could be facing a lot of coverage. Actually, I reckon they're going to start coming out like a waterfall, Canberra, then I would expect Backyard, and then maybe some of the other ones, perhaps. But we will eventually come back. But right now, finishing and focusing on number 4. We have another special guest joining us who's done our coverage previously. This is unique, though, because she was actually on the season and one of the stars of the season herself. So she can't give us so much, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because she was there. But she's going to be in a great position to give us all the behind-the-scenes tidbits that we didn't see on the show as it went on, that she experienced herself. So very excited to have Dani joining us for her internal monologue about the season.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Hi. Happy to be here. I'm excited to, talk about myself for 3 hours.
Well, you can only talk about yourself for an hour and a half because you got food.
Yeah, I was only in the first half. That's true.
Jules, why don't you take us off? What have you got with your notes?
Well, do we want to talk about the season overall first, or are we just going to kick straight into it?
Well, I already just gave it its synopsis, but did anybody else
that
have
was
anything
your
else?
perspective. How about my perspective? Yours made it seem like you think it was maybe a bit high on the ranking. I think it's a bit low, personally.
You think it should be in the top 3?
I think it should be in the top 2.
Top 2?
Yeah.
Wow.
It has children's puzzles.
Hang on. Let me start off by saying there's a few things I'm going to say that make it seem like I don't like it. Challenges were not great. Too many twists, too many advantages. You're going to hear me rant about the twists that I don't like them. But take all that away, I would say of all the LRGs that I've watched, this is the best cast. And now I know that sounds like a lot when I've got a member of the cast here with me, but top to bottom, this is the best cast of any LRG. And I think when you've got a great cast, doesn't care about any of the other stuff. Personally, I don't care about challenges. They're a plot point to determine who gets immunity. The twists, whatever, the advantages, it's all about the cast. If you've got a great cast, you've got a good season.
This may be self-serving, but I don't think it's a better cast than Playing with Fire.
Okay, we'll discuss that when we get to it. I would say it is.
This wasn't, to be fair, like I will. Again, self-serving, but I back Jules here. Like one of the things I said to the both of you when I was first talking about having played Sydney was this cast, outside of myself, were incredible. Like the whole cast, like there was just brilliant casting by the casting team. Like myself aside, I think the rest are all incredible.
Yeah, let's remain unbiased. Let's take Dani out of the picture. Let's even take Kristie out of the picture and talk about the other 14 people. I think you've got a very, very strong cast.
I think there's what I will give you is I think there's a more even spread of quality amongst the cast than any other season. But I would suggest that Playing with Fire's higher highs may have lower lows though in the casting.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
There's no one that stands up to Laurel on this cast.
No.
Or Annabelle really. And then if I'm the third most interesting person, and Caitlin, it's just got very high highs. But I agree that from bottom to top, this is really, really interesting. Like even, JT out at the first, he's really interesting in his own way. I can see that on the broader scale, I accept the argument that it's a strong cast, but I also think that Yards Apart is up there as a candidate as well.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my perspective. But do you guys want to jump straight in?
Let's do it.
Sure, let's go.
So we open up the first episode, and we're starting off.
Wait a minute. What the fuck, TK? They're the queens, and I'm just like, what? What am I? Jesus, my own brother.
What he said.
My own fucking brother. Anyway.
So we start off with a brunch. Everyone's sort of getting there in their own time. Everyone's having a chit chat, meeting everyone. They're not in tribes. Everyone's just there individually. And we get the best moment of the first episode when Maddie P's surprised Pikachu face when he sees Kristie. I think we all loved that part.
Memed up the hill.
First production issue here. What were you told coming in about arrival time?
We were given a window.
Yeah.
To arrive between.
And you were disadvantaged, obviously, if you came late in the window.
Yes.
What did you think?
I think it was like a 15, 20-minute window.
What did you think about this window? Did you think that it was key to get there at the start of it? You obviously missed the window considerably.
Yeah, I was one of the later ones there.
We don't even see you arrive on the.
Yeah, no, they don't show me arrive. Everyone was already in a big circle by that point doing introductions. So I was one of the last there. But I have children that I had to buckle into a car to get on time when I was being dropped off.
Do you feel that you being late to the party maybe contributed to the fact that your name was brought up at the first tribal?
Definitely was.
Yeah.
And that's probably through no fault of your own. People had known each other for about 5 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
I think
there were people after me, so I remember not like feeling too shaky about it because there were still people coming after me. So I wasn't the last. But yeah, definitely when I got there and I saw there were already so many people, it was pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
I think that it should have had a set arrival time, and if you're late, you're late. But it should have had a set arrival time. But I guess it's arranged. But were you a bit freaked out when you shit they're all together and just chatting?
Yeah. And they're already filming little cast intros and stuff, and I was like, fuck. Running, yeah. Maddie Ching's like, you might recognize somebody, and I'm like trying to rack my head about somebody that like I might know. And it's fucking Kristie Bennett. I was like, oh my god.
Yes. What was your reaction? Because you didn't get the Maddie P, shocked Pikachu. Because you arrived and saw her with everyone else. What was your reaction? Did you think she was playing? Like, did you think she was there for some sort of other role when you saw her?
Yeah, I had no idea. I was kind of like, that's fucking Kristie Bennett. Why is she here? Well, she's with all the cast. Is she playing? But then I was like, I had so much to take in. I was like, that's a really cool thing, but let me just go and do all my introductions. I remember like probably squeezed her tighter than anybody else. I was like, me, that's a real life Survivor player. How cool is this?
I think I would have lost my shit for sure.
I was trying to be like, cool, calm, collected. I was like,
it's Kristie Bennett. It's just a celebrity. No big deal.
Yeah, 100%.
I thought, and I must say, we're going to Maddie P's reaction. I thought that this episode, I thought that Kristie fucking Bennett was actually like a Maddie P quote, but it was a Joseph. I've been misattributing it to Maddie P.
I think Maddie P says it a few times as well throughout the season.
In the first episode, it's Joseph that says it. It's Joseph.
Joseph, and he's good for a soundbite, Joseph.
I think Maddie said it at the swap as well, because that's when he finally got on a tribe with her. He's like, I'm on a tribe with Kristie fucking Bennett.
Yeah, for sure.
She should just change her middle name to fucking.
There's a soundbite.
All right, so we get everyone's meeting everyone's there, and we get to our first challenge. This is probably the best challenge of the season, and it's the first one. That would be my opinion, probably the best one. So we didn't have any children's puzzles. We didn't have any.
No, the best challenge is the one I would say before. Because of the drama of it before, and it's actually a half decent Survivor challenge before merge, where Maddie, Kristie, and Ethan sort of have to win by themselves.
Oh yeah,
it's a bit of the child's anyway. Day. But
anyway, we get the giant Easter egg hunt,
and the children's activities commence. The giant Easter egg hunt.
But we have the twist in that we're still not in tribes yet. So everyone's individual. It's playing for a tribe, but you don't know who is in your tribe. And I think I talked about this at the time. Leah is the person who is giving away the most eggs, and I still don't understand the logic, because to me, you're either giving your eggs to someone on your own tribe, which it makes no difference to your overall score, or you're giving them to the opposition, which is helping you lose. So I'm still not fully understanding her logic behind it. I'm sure she had a good reason for it, but I struggle with that.
I think that's logical, because if those people are on your tribe, then that's a relationship that you've built. If you're not doing anything with it, if it goes to the other side, it is another relationship. Look, if you back yourself not to be the first boot, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you think that you're potentially a first boot candidate, you shouldn't be doing it. But Leah always thought, look, I'm not probably going to be the first boot. I rate myself to build some social connections, so
she ended the challenge with 0 eggs.
Okay, that's actually bad. I didn't realize that.
I'm just like, you should have some to contribute as a team.
Okay, I didn't realize you had 0. That's a bold call, actually. That looks bad. I can't believe that didn't get brought up by anyone as a potential reason.
I think they all thought she was giving them away, though, so it kind of like, all right, it's not like she didn't find any, she just gave them all away.
Maybe she thought that they were, butterflies hatched from eggs, and she's just wanted nothing.
Get them away from me.
Yeah, terrified of butterflies.
I respect that.
That's one of the first things I ever learned about Leah was her fear of butterflies. And all
I understand it.
You're actually like, what a weirdo. Who's afraid of butterflies?
Me. All right, you'd stop talking about that. Anyway, We see Shane and Ethan both get advantages. And Dani, I think you were missed out on both of them by about this much.
I was there for both.
Did you see either of them get the advantages?
Well, yeah. So Shane and I both went for that advantage, and he got there like a split second before I did. And I saw Ethan pick up his advantage because he turned around and was like, "What's this?"
Right. That second cost you the game.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, I know, right? Oh, I know.
You could have had the legacy advantage.
Yeah, exactly. It was a fucking legacy advantage. But yeah, I was there for both. Very close.
The legacy advantage that got you booted, in fact, is what I'm saying.
Yep, exactly.
Wow. I don't know what Sam. Thomas said. TK says he was traumatized by the eggs.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What do you think Sam's trying to say here?
But I was like eyes on. I was like
eyes on to the advantages. Oh,
she was watching everything. I bet you before
I
they even counted the eggs, Dani knew who had the most.
There were a lot of eggs. Like production had to go on over 300 in total. 350 maybe.
I don't have
they were everywhere. They weren't like they were fucking like, and because there's so many layers to that park, because obviously the EOE is up the top. Like so you're doing stairs, you're doing hills. It was it's my first thing in the morning. It's so cold.
What is this park? Why is there just a giant amphitheater in the middle of some random oval?
It's in Katoomba.
Yeah, but why? What was the original conception of the Kingsford Smith Park?
You're right.
Sorry, that's my dog trying to kill my
cat. I was like, dog or cat?
Both. What was the original, do you guys have the architecture background of this park? It's just very interesting. Anyway, move on. It's
called the Kingsford Smith Memorial Park in the middle of
I understand. I'm familiar with Kingsford Smith, the person. It's just strange that this is gigantic amphitheater in the middle of it. Anyway, I wonder if they used to do Shakespeare in the park there in the 70s. I don't know. Like I'm trying to delve into the history of this place.
You can ask Eli.
Eli should have done like a challenge like Sam did about like the history of the park. You need to go and answer the question.
I mean, as far as he got, there was a question about what's the name of the park, and I think only Sam got it right.
No, I think Jazz did as well.
We'll get to that.
Whoever was sitting next to Sam also got it right. I think it was Jazz. All right, continue.
And this challenge, this is the beginning, our first appearance of our challenge beast, Mer Queen. I think she was one of the ones that got one of the most eggs. And I remember in our preseason, we were both, CK, you and I were both like, yeah, she'll be like the second boot.
Yep.
And while she went pre-merge, it wasn't through any fault of her own.
No, she was stuffed. She was stuffed galore with eggs all over her body, stuffed everywhere.
I stand by my rankings.
Full went the bucket was just stuffing her.
I think if she wasn't screwed over by a twist, she would have gone far.
I don't know. She was pretty threatening. I don't think she did much to hide her threat level.
Well, no, she instantly, like she said that she was an ultra marathon runner, like in our introductions. And we're like, I was not letting her get anywhere near merge. I was like, I don't want you at merge.
Just go marathon runner. You don't need to add the ultra bit.
Yeah,
like, what are you showing off?
But she's probably coming in worried that getting tarred with the brush of being the older woman, oldest one on her tribe. You're worried that you're going to be a target for that, so you kind of need to counter that.
And marathon will counter that
fine.
You don't need to add
that she maybe does 5K every now and then. Probably would have been good.
Yes, you don't need the ultra marathon bit.
Yeah, I do triathlons here and there. I keep pretty fit.
She was very focused on people wanting to vote her out for her chiropractic and nutritionist business, that she had to fake being a swim instructor, but she's told everyone she runs ultramarathons. I don't think she had clear in her head what makes you a threat and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm. And then we're sorted into the tribes, and Red wins our first meet. I've just got Red and Blue written down. I don't remember the tribe names because
mine was Katoomba.
Mm-hmm. And what was Red? Do you remember?
Red
and Blue.
Oh, Bullabara.
Yeah. Red and Blue. Oh, let's continue.
Red and Blue. We sorted the tribes, and Red wins the first immunity. We go to the tribes to see who's doing what, and we see Leah's infamous, what's your irrational fear? I'm going to open up the conversation and then talk about myself, as a true ORCA would. But then we get Ethan opens his safety without power in front of everyone, which I think if people have seen you find an advantage, it makes sense to show everyone. And he had no idea how many people had seen it, but he knew at least you had, because there was people talking about, someone from the other tribe told us that they saw Ethan find something. So I think that was a smart play.
The smarter play, but this is not something that Ethan decided to incorporate in his game at all this season, would have been to look at the advantage and then reveal it once you know what it is.
Exactly.
Because I don't think
it's first.
He doesn't like looking at the advantages before he opens them. But I think the safety with power is one that's fine to reveal to your tribe. It's actually, I agree with you. They've seen him find it, whatever. But and you don't want them thinking you got an idol or a clue to an idol. It's a fairly like minimal advantage. So just say this is what I got. That's fine. But he took a big risk in opening it. If he'd had the legacy advantage, for example, that would have been probably. It's not
a big target on his back.
Big target.
And a safety without power too, that has to be played before the votes.
Yeah.
So it's an all right thing for people to know about, because if they're not going to target you over it, because it's like, he did get targeted over it, but there's the element of we know he's not going to surprise us with it. He either has to play, and you can have a contingency plan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you can plan for it. It's not something that's like super threatening in the first couple of votes.
But I stand by he perhaps should have opened it, say, in confessional or on his own before he revealed to everybody what it was. Yeah. That's his style this whole game. And it's a funny moment because he's only watched 20 seasons of Survivor at this point. Probably the wrong 20 seasons for getting into one of these.
He started at Borneo and worked his way through.
Yeah, you probably needed to start at 20 if you wanted to get familiar with what the gameplay was going to be like.
Yeah, exactly.
But he doesn't know what a safety with power is. He also doesn't know what a nullifier is.
He doesn't know about any advantages other than idols.
I'm surprised he knows about idols because, so he knows about singular idols, like one idol for the whole season that you get X or something. I guess he's seen Russell Hantz find random idols everywhere. That's all he knows about.
But yeah, Shane does open his in private and chooses not to tell anyone, which, given what the advantage is, smart, but I probably would have told them you've got something.
Shane, from memory, who's watched Zero Survivor.
Survivor.
He was like within 24 hours.
Playing,
Still has an awareness to open his advantage in private.
Yes. And
he
goes
did
on
everything
to
by himself. The whole day he did everything by himself.
Yeah.
He pulled nobody in.
Shane didn't believe in alliances. He was a true Borneo fan, and he thought alliances were unethical for the game.
Yeah.
And he was just going to have his own alliance with his advantages, and that's all he needed.
And his main strategy was vote out.
It worked for him. It worked for him for a while.
It did.
I could get through 8 votes if I had 3 idols too. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. True. Well, he went out with one of them.
True.
But I digress. So from there, we go to the blue tribe, and at first, no one wants to break off. You guys are all standing in a little circle, like, what do we do now? So then finally see groups breaking off. Dani, your name is mentioned by TK. TK, how dare you? I think I've got that in my notes.
You guys break into a 3-3.
My name out your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
You break to a 3-3-2, which is not great probably for anyone. And then
it becomes a 5-3.
The 2 join up to the other 3, leaving the other 3. If I was in the balance 3, I would not be allowing that to occur. Nobody's standing at 3 where there's a 5. Now, I think the one thing is that Kristie's in the 3, and I think she...
Kristie ended up being in the 5. The first group of 3 by themselves is Dani, Michelle, and Sam, and I think they end up being 3 big power players of the season.
Yes, you're right. It's the rest of the misfits in the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are saying
it was like a quick second toss, and I was like, "These are my people. Let's fucking go."
Yeah.
I felt like that Sam had already, before that had occurred, had like connected with Luke, so he probably felt. Is that right? And
yes.
So he probably felt okay that Luke was over there and not with him.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys are saying either JT or Lizzie. Kristie's name is mentioned.
What about poor Lizzie? Lizzie's great. Why was everyone targeting Lizzie?
I just hadn't, I think similar to me, like no one had gotten much from anybody.
They'd been there for 20 minutes. I
was like, at that point, there's fucking no reason for anybody.
Then I didn't even know JT's name. She just said Captain America.
Captain America, that's who he was.
I remember watching this episode in real time and being very, very nervous that Dani was going to be the first boot. But she was not, and it was JT voted out 6-2, with JT and Lizzie being the 2 votes for Dani.
Look, it was Oh, nerve-wracking. Like I didn't like I had as much trust as you can have with people in 20 minutes before you've got to go to tribal. But like people just wouldn't like focus on a name, and once you've heard your own names out there, it's hard just not to like panic.
Did Sam save you there?
Pardon?
Did Sam save you?
Kristie.
Well, was Sam was driving Luke's boat, and Luke wasn't talking to you?
No.
And Kristie changed TK's mind, I think.
Where Sam sort of pulls together the group that he wants, like, because we had this sort of arbitrary couple of groups, and Sam's just like, nah, screw this. And I think it was Sam, Dani, Michelle, Luke, and TK, I think. As like
because TK tells me that he's the one who threw my name out.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, okay.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, Kristie's like, they're like, everyone's dancing around the name. She's like, well, just say who you want to play with, and that leaves it out. And then people are still saying nothing.
Yeah. She definitely tried to drive it. She's since like said to me that like because I was very open with the information about Ethan and Shane, and what I'd seen, and like was happy to just discuss like all that stuff. Maybe she was like, no, I want to keep her because she's given me the information I need to know from the get-go. So she definitely helped save me in that first vote.
Mm-hmm. And we love her for that.
Correct.
And JT is the most iconic first boot of any LRG that we've seen to date.
Yes. It helps that it has the edge because you keep getting footage. And he's so salty about being voted out, even though he keeps saying he's not salty about it, but he's clearly so fucking salty about it.
We're 2 years post the game and he's still salty about being the first. It hasn't changed.
It has real Ream Daly vibes. We were talking about it at the time. It still does. And if Ream Daly had not been on Edge of Extinction, she wouldn't be anyone. She'd just be like another first boot that nobody remembers. But
also that season would be no good without Ream Daly.
But I'm just saying, of course he's the most iconic first boot, but it's because he ended up on the Edge and continued to get the John 10. I think there's a lot of first boots from the seasons we've watched that would also have served a lot of hot tea if they had been on an Edge. I think Scott would have been very, very bitter and just questioning his life decisions about the way he played the game, and then all like fired up about it. I think that David from Backyard One, only because I've seen the way he plays the next time. JP on his own. A little Edge extension would be fire. So I think that's just the nature of the first boot. That there tend to be first boots in the LRGs tend to either be they can be a bit of a nothing person, as in the person didn't get to deliver much of themselves, and that's why they got voted out, or they were really big, and the really big people do not like getting voted out. Like that's what happens with the second boot here. Amanda, I just think, was a little bit like not connecting with everyone, and so she it was an easy vote, particularly as they have to strategize around that, which we can move into if you like.
Well, yeah, so we go to episode 2, and we're shown that the temperature is 1 degree. Was it in fact 1 degree, or is that?
It was 1 degree. It was freezing. My toes were falling off. It was fucking cold, and of course Katuma was in like the shade in mud. Like it was just. Ooh.
Is it one? Is it? I'm not denying it was cold. I'm just saying.
It was the Blue Mountains in winter. It was 1 degree.
But was Eli there measuring the temperature with an on-the-spot thermometer throughout the day? Like this is the best.
I mean, you can get that information from
exactly. It was gone back on like the BOM to track how cold it was at that point in time. And the ground was wet. Our feet were frozen.
I'm not saying it's cold. I'm just saying.
At that point, it probably was still pretty early in the morning, so I can understand.
I'm not denying that it was cold.
It was 1 degree. I'm telling you, it was fucking 1 degree.
Well, it's fine. You had the thermometer. I'm just saying. Hey, Malene's here. Welcome, Malene.
She's
defending
the Queen.
Now, yes, we're talking about that. Yes, we're going to get to there. The ultra marathon runner, Malene. We discussed that already. I don't know if you were here for that.
So we get our first look at EOE. We get John looking around, finding nothing, but just showing us sort of where it is. We get to our first challenge, and Leah is shocked to see JT gone.
Shocked?
She was one of the ones that knew him from Orgs.
Oh, but doesn't he play the Orgs the way he plays these games? Why was she shocked? I think he knew other people. I think from memory,
there were quite a few Org connections.
He knew Luke, so she thought that there'd be at least a connection there.
Meanwhile, Luke was like, get rid of him for that reason.
Well, that's why Luke wanted him gone, because he didn't want that connection. Exactly.
And so at the challenge,
we just should have talked about it. Did anyone recognize Michelle? She was so worried about being recognized. I think Kristie might have known who she was.
But at this point, I was not in the community at all. Like I had no idea what Orgs were when I started playing. I wasn't aware of Michelle's Facebook page.
Yeah. So you didn't, but do you think Michelle was very worried that people would know about?
Nobody said it to me. No one said that they recognized her at all to me.
I'd be interested.
I would have probably recognized her name, but without seeing what her last name was, I wouldn't have recognized her face.
Yeah, Marlene didn't know who she was. I think the only one who seemed to recognize her in the meet and greet was Kristie. I think she'd probably
that would make sense.
Kristie before.
Yeah. So we get our challenge this episode. We get our first children's puzzle. They had to run and get the puzzle pieces, and then someone had to do it while they were blindfolded with someone else directing them. And we get Michelle saying that the reason she thinks they won is because of all of her years in childhood education.
Of course.
Checks
well, she can match colours, to a colour grid.
Well, she was able to direct Lizzie on how to do it very gently.
They should have painted the puzzles black, like the bit where you put the actual bits down, so you had to fit the shapes and not have the colour and outline advantage.
Or just not have the base there, just have it put it together.
Yeah, either or. But the base made it too easy.
Yeah. But I suppose it's a one-day game. This is a good way to get the puzzles being done really quickly. You don't want your challenges taking an hour.
This is true. And I agree with you. Challenges are just a narrative. You only have challenges in Survivor because reality games have challenges. That's what they have.
You need a way to determine immunity.
Yeah. Well,
so I was paired with
traders. The challenges are basically pointless in the traders. They're just there to
completely pointless. Yeah.
They're there to get the kids more interested in watching.
Yeah. I was actually paired with Ethan in this challenge because we were both callers on the third base. So I was at that point trying to get as much information from him as I could about the what he'd found. But the only thing he told me was that he told his tribe, he'd opened it with his tribe, but he wouldn't tell me what it was.
How did you feel? You wandering up to him in the middle of the challenge, going, "I saw you find something. What is it?" It's a bit awkward, Dani.
We were paired on the challenge, so I didn't just going up to him in the middle of the challenge. I was like, "Did you open what you found?" He saw me see him. I didn't shock him. He wasn't shocked.
I remember in the real time, I was manifesting that you two were going to end up working together, and so I saw. I'm like, "Oh, there it is. That's the start of it. That's where the connection forms," and it just never happened.
Never formed.
Some of those post-game relationships. There's plenty of those around. There's post-game relationships that weren't actually connections during the game.
Yeah. So I'm learning. But yes, we go to the red game. No, go.
I said it's just like. I loved his game. I thought it was fun.
But no, we go to the red camp, see the strategizing. Ethan wants to blindside Shane. This is the first time we hear him say that for the season, and it's definitely not the last. He has a boner for getting Shane out of this game. It takes him a while to get it done. But anyway,
a lot of people have that boner.
Yeah. He thinks Shane has another advantage, and he is correct. Shane is looking for his gloves and instead finds an idol.
Did he also find the gloves?
Yeah, they were in his pocket the whole time.
Ah. Shane's just wandering off, not just strategizing and just finding advantages after advantages.
The guy that's never watched an episode of Survivor in episode 2 has an idol and a legacy advantage.
Ridiculous.
You can't write this shit.
The idol wasn't super well hidden. It had a bit of a Ben Dreisbergen on the boat vibe, considering he was doing a confessional as well. But
in episode 1, they zoomed in when he's opening his legacy advantage. It was on the ground there, and they zoomed in on it, and he didn't see it there. I'm
just saying, normally, I don't know what was happening. You can tell us, Dani. Normally, the production says, hey, I want to do a confessional with you, and they take you somewhere.
Yes.
Is that what was happening in Sydney?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's not good form to take someone to where a fucking idol is. Because it's a real easy opportunity to find it without anyone seeing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's the Ben Dreisbergen on the boat moment.
There was, but in the Bullabara camp, there was probably a lot more opportunities for like hidey holes and those. I mean, the camps, there wasn't a lot of like hiding room regardless of where you were going. So like he found that on a walkway going back up to where tribal council was being held, whereas on the Katoomba camp it was just flat ground. Like besides, you'll see us do like a bush hunt at some point.
The idol he finds at your camp is a much better hidden idol.
Yes, because there's nowhere else in our camp to put it, because there was a chair.
He still looks in the right tree though. He looks in the right tree. He looks in the right tree.
I mean. I know. But then we've all gone past that tree. We were all gone well past it. We're walking back down because no one's found anything, and he fucking pulls it out. Shows up late to the hunt.
I want to get to that moment, but we're jumping ahead because that is
jumping ahead. So we get the strategizing. Amanda's putting together a split vote. Ethan and Shane. I think that she wants 4 on Ethan and 3 on Shane because of the safety without power. And then, but if he plays it, we'll do this. And if we do that, and then we'll do this. And she's throwing Leah's name out as the decoy name.
Too much strategy to avoid a safety with power. Just fucking don't vote for Ethan. Just don't make him the plan.
Just say he's the plan. If he plays it, this is plan B.
Or just don't worry about it. I don't know. Bring Ethan in. It's too complicated.
But yeah, we've got I think the biggest problem she had was making Leah the decoy name, because I think we see Leah as the one who ultimately flips the whole vote onto Amanda at Tribal.
Well, it's right before Tribal, I understand. I believe
it's on the way to Tribal.
It started on the way, and then she had to whisper it down the line.
Yeah, she was talking to Shane about it on the way. Brought Shane in, then whispered it down the line. And here we see another of Matty P's shocked Pikachu faces, even though he was absolutely told what the vote was and voted for Amanda. And still, when the votes come out for her, he's like, it's just a ridiculous review management going on.
It's very
what's better, Matty P's shocked face, or he's like talking out the side of his mouth? I found an idol.
Yeah, that is his other move.
He does it in real life though. Like, bless him, when he's trying to tell you a secret in real life or something like really quietly.
He does both of them in real life. I randomly ran in. Yeah, and then I randomly ran into him at the mosh pit at Blink 182, and he saw me, and he was like.
And we love it.
To be fair, I was in a different state, and he didn't know I was coming, so I do appreciate the level.
I would probably pull that face too if I would have
seen
a mosh pit like in the Sydney. I'd be like, what the fuck?
This guy doing here.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we mentioned, we see the votes start to change on the way to Tribal, and then at the Tribal, it's whispered right down the line. Everyone except for Amanda and Ethan are included in it, so we get a 6-1-1 vote on Amanda. We've got Amanda voting for Ethan and Ethan voting for Leah.
Ethan would have also voted for Amanda if Amanda could have told him that was the plan. But
yeah,
unfortunately,
he just happened to be sitting on the end of the thing. I think that was the only reason he was left out of it.
Yeah. And getting up at that point at tribal councils too, like, risky. The first tribal council, we're going to get up and make it a live tribal.
No one needed to tell Ethan what was going on. It was fine.
Yeah, you had the numbers.
They had the numbers. They didn't need it.
Yeah. I do love that we had to have the re-recording of them whispering down the line, because obviously they're not mic'd up, so can't hear anything.
You mean re-recording?
Pretty obvious that it was re-recorded.
Re-recorded? What, like in post?
Like the audio between, especially Leah and Maddie at Tribal, you can hear exactly what they're saying, and it's very clearly been recorded in like a sound. So,
are you familiar with this, Dani? This post-production audio?
I'm not familiar with that at all.
If you rewatch that episode, it's very obvious.
Where were the microphones at Tribal Council?
On the cameras, like there wasn't any on us.
The amphitheater may create a level of sound travel.
Yeah, it was definitely loud. It felt loud in there when you were talking. It felt quite loud.
It's clearly recorded in a room as opposed to in the outdoor.
I'll talk to Eli about it in the production chat. We'll find. Yeah. We'll get to the bottom of that. Amanda goes to Edge, and JT is not happy to see someone.
Well, that's the start of the next episode. We've got EOA's there. He's
TK's confirming there was redubs.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, we get, JT is talking to Amanda. He wants to know more about his vote, but of course she doesn't actually know. She wasn't there. And we just see him. He's like, I want someone from Blue to lose. I'm not salty. Definitely not salty, but I want to know what happened. I want to know why I was the first vote.
Sadly, when TK eventually gets there, it gives JT fucking nothing about why JT was voted out. So he's never sated in his demands.
That's his question at Final Tribal Council. Why was I voted out? Like,
he doesn't get a good answer there.
He never.
He's never given a good answer. This is a man that was rejected from the Army Reserve on a number of occasions. He doesn't do well with rejection. He wanted to know properly why he'd been voted out.
I just want to know, not salty. It's fine. I just want to know, okay? So we go into a tribe swap, which is determined by the number that you chose before the game. I don't love this for a tribe swap. It makes it quick, but I didn't get to see that.
Sounds rigged.
And I feel like it was a little bit rigged.
Sounds rigged.
I can't tell you how it was rigged, but my number would have put me on the other tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Rigged.
My number was 15, so I would have been on Bullabara. I wouldn't have stayed in Katoomba.
Yeah, it's very convenient that we end up in a 4-3 split on both tribes.
I loved it for me. That was fantastic.
Yeah, it's great for you.
It would not have worked out for you over in the other tribe.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
you're in place of another Blue.
Best person to send over there to save us.
You would have gone pre-merge.
Pardon?
You would have gone pre-merge probably if you'd swapped with TK or Lizzie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I've said this to both Ethan and Lee. I would not have coped on their tribe to start with them. Bless them, I love them now, but in that moment I was not fans. They were too ORCA for me in that moment. I just couldn't. I was like, this is not.
You're not a fan of Ethan, who you saw find an advantage, then confronted about it the next time you saw him, and he's got the problem.
He was chaotic.
It's not Ethan.
It was chaotic for me. I was very measured. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's on Ethan. Got it.
All right, so the new tribes we've got on Blue, we've got Dani, Sam, Michelle, and Luke, who stay on Blue, and then they get Leah, Shane, and Joseph. I think it's really interesting that Shane gets flipped over because he's clearly on the bottom of that red tribe. So I think he's probably someone that if he stays on red, they potentially flip on him to get him out anyway.
I think it's so good because Shane I don't think knows he's in trouble on red, and I don't think he even understands he's in trouble on Blue. I think he has zero awareness of what's actually going on in terms of his position in the game. Yeah. Or that alliances are forming, or that's what's happening. Particularly with his first experience with the vote, which was it just sort of happened right before Tribal Council, and whatever alliances there may have been completely imploded, and 6 people just voted for Amanda, including Malene and Jazz, who from appearances had some relationship or connection with her. So I think from Shane's perspective, he's like, this is what the game is. This you get to Tribal Council and someone goes home.
I think Shane going out was one of the biggest surprises for me. I think once he got to merge, I had him penciled in to be a 0 vote finalist. Because to me, once you get to that point, he's not doing anything. He's not winning challenges. He's really not a threat. He's just a number that's kind of existing. And surely that's someone you want to try and take to the end because
there are too many big players at the merge to be interested in goats because they don't want to take spots from the other big players.
Yeah.
You had Joseph wanting to take Kristie the end, think he could fucking beat her for some reason. So that was not the mindset of the players at the merge. In a different season, I think you're absolutely right, but I just don't think that was how they were playing.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the spot that while Jazz wasn't a 0 vote finalist, I think she was taken to the end as someone that people thought they could beat.
But she still had the returnee value and had spent time with you on the edge, and she got a number of votes from it. So she was a threat in her own way in that way.
Yeah. So that was the blue tribe, and the red tribe is Ethan, Maddie, Malene, Jazz, which is interesting because they had just formed an alliance, the 4 of them, and then they all stayed together on red.
It's like it's rigged.
It's almost as if it's rigged. And then we get TK, Lizzie, and Kristie joining them. I think Kristie being swapped into minority is the only thing that would make me go, was it rigged?
Yes, I agree.
That's the only thing. If it wasn't for that, I'd be 100% certain. But anyway, I digress.
I'll ask Eli the hard questions, eh?
Yeah. And then we get...
But again, like I said, when you look at the breakdown, because it was like lowest to highest, I know specifically my number was 15 because my birthday.
And they didn't reveal everyone's number.
No,
I'm being a little bit facetious.
15, then we live in a house that's 15. Like that's my number for like everything. So I'm
being a little bit facetious. I don't actually think it was rigged, but I think it's possible that a mistake was made.
That's so TK picked 17, so he had a higher number than I did, and he ends up on the other tribe, and I stayed put.
Which was the lower number tribe?
The red tribe, Bullabara. I should have been switched over based off that.
Yeah, so I think it's more likely there was a mistake.
Sure. Okay. We'll go with that. That's the party line, is it? Anyway, our challenge is we're playing soccer 1-on-1.
Joseph had 666.
Very apt.
Yeah.
Bless him, the devil.
Everyone's into this, like, and TK.
Michelle would have been swapped too if she did those low numbers.
Yeah.
Didn't someone do 69 or something?
Ethan, I think.
Yeah, that checks out.
Well, he would have gone that way then.
Yeah, so I think there's
no sense based off the number picking.
There may have been a thing to this where the tribes were actually like lined up as red and blue and then slotted in with the numbers. I've seen orgs do that before.
Okay, yeah.
On post count, where you actually alternate the tribes with the number ordering.
Honestly, though, just make it random. Make them draw a buff, and you have a plate of buffs for the original blues and the original reds, so that it's 4-3 on both sides. But if you're gonna make it random, do let us as viewers see them like having to do. Oh, what color did I get?
Yeah.
Given that it went the way it did, I think he probably ranked them and slotted them as so you had the 4-3, and that's how you get it randomly. Probably.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That I believe. But anyway, we get 1v1 soccer. Which was,
I know Eli loves football, but wow, what a thrilling ride this was.
Riveting challenge to watch. So we had our matchup.
Why not 3-on-3? That'd be more interesting.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, that would have been better.
The chat's going off with the number thing. They're losing. PK in particular is particularly struggling.
PK knows everyone's number.
Oh, but he's also like, because he was fucked here. That's so he's like,
we understand why TK is very hyper focused on this in the chat.
So we get Shane versus Ethan. Ethan wins. Joseph versus TK. Joseph wins. Sam versus Maddie P. And Maddie P wins. Dani versus Jazz. Dani, do you remember who won that one?
I did.
As if you wouldn't remember. And then our final battle.
Yes, you tips on your husband.
That's all me, baby. That's all
he won some soccer medal I saw on Facebook.
He won his premiership. Yep.
What was a better achievement? You winning against Jazz or him winning this premiership?
Oh, his premiership. I'll give him that. It was a much tougher game that I had to put up with.
Oh, it's the slide on Jazz right there. Boom.
Yeah. But then, our final battle
physical contact coming into play. I wasn't going out to put that a fight.
This isn't in the chat, but Merline's texting her right now. You won't believe what Dani just said.
I beat you, Jazz, fair and square.
Yeah. And our final battle deciding point: Luke versus Merline. 2 challenge beasts head to head, and Luke pulls out the W for the new blue tribe. So we see red go to tribal.
Sorry, just stop. Absolutely, TK. Make it a netball challenge and watch me fucking compete. Here we go. I need that.
I would just run away in the other direction if I was playing netball against you. I'd be like, just here.
There are so many netball players in the LRG community, though. Like at some point, there needs to be a cross-state game put on.
Mm-hmm. I'll be the referee.
I'll teach you.
Netball.
I've not played netball since primary school.
Netball's a great sport. Anyway,
netball's a fantastic sport.
I have bad knees. Okay, so it's not my
sport.
sport.
You strap up. Get over it.
All right. Talk to me after you do an ACL. All right.
No one's making you play midfield, Jules. You can play goalkeeper.
I'm not tall enough for goalkeeper. I am 5'5".
I'm a goalkeeper. I'm not tall.
All right. Look, I'm also not coordinated. Anyway, we go to the red tribe, and the old blues are trying to split up the men and women, or at least TK is. TK throwing out Merlene for a vote. But, the old reds are going to stick strong. They vote out TK. It's a 5-2 vote. Kristie gets pulled in and told at the last minute that they're voting for TK. And it's only TK and Lizzie that vote for Merlene.
TK will tell anyone who listens to the rest of the game that he could have gone 2 ways, and he went the stick with blue way. I honestly think he would
blue under the bus, but he could have tried to flip a red.
But he also came across a bit too chaotic right away, and then Kristie just threw him under the bus with that. Like, absolutely just tossed him. Like, that TK guy, he's just chaotic. He'll do anything. He'll sell anyone out. Kristie's the one selling anybody out, but.
He was out loud about it, though. She does that in private. She does that in secret. You don't know that she's talking shit. She does that very privately. TK was loud and proud.
I think if TK had tried to connect with the boys, he might have been able to do something.
I think Merlene's always going to be TK.
Yeah, it'd be silly for the boys to vote out a red there, but maybe they could swing it onto Lizzie if they really tried. Merlene says it's always going to be TK, but. No one seemed interested in saving TK. So when no one's interested, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
And it came in hot. I mean, you come in hot, it's off-putting when you haven't worked with those people before. And I know it's time crunch, but it's just like right off the bat, you're like, okay.
Yeah, he needed to drag one person over, not try and drag all 4 of them over.
He tried to split them up. He saw them as 2 pairs, which is probably a fair read. I think they were 2 pairs that had come together to form a 4.
But even in that situation, like, it's just absurd for anyone there to split, because then you're in a weird 3-3. Like, his best chance was to try and make it not him. He shouldn't have been trying to make some blue strong thing. Just try to make it not him and get to the next one.
You needed to throw Lizzie under the bus here.
Absolutely. Yeah. But Lizzie still votes with him anyway.
Poor
Continuing
Lizzie.
her streak of not voting correctly.
She never votes correctly once.
Has a 0% voting record, which I think is something to be admired.
Poor Lizzie. It's not to be admired.
I disagree with you.
Yeah. Anyway, we go to episode 4. Blue are having a public idol hunt. Leah's like,
I also have a 0% voting record, so I'm for you. I'm with you, Lizzie.
You do. She went to more tribal than you, though.
I only went to 2 votes, and one of them I got booted, so I couldn't exactly get that right. Actually, no, technically I voted for myself. I had a 50%.
There you go.
Because of the voodoo idol, and I voted for Brady.
Your vote bounced back.
Yeah, so I got 50%. There we go.
There you go. Well done. But yeah, so Leah says, let's all go hunt for an idol together. Everyone's looking. Shane's not even there when the idol hunt starts and still manages to come along and find another idol. So for 2 idols and a legacy advantage. And for someone who doesn't watch Survivor, I think he makes a brilliant play here by opening it in front of everyone. And in his confessional, he is saying, well, I showed everyone the idol so that later when I play it, they won't think I've got another one. That's brilliant thinking.
Meanwhile,
that is something that me as a super fan would take a while to go, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Leave me
alone. It's a great play. Meanwhile,
Dani
is completely overestimating who she's fighting. She thinks she's fighting against a mastermind, and Shane, she didn't find anything.
He already had it.
There's no way he found that. It's a strategic move because now we won't vote for him because we know he's got an advantage. It's a very smart play. You're right, Dani. Is a smart play. If Shane had any idea of what you were possibly conceiving he might be doing.
And I think from memory, you also thought that what he'd found in the hunt was a clue, and that was him using his clue to find the idol. So you didn't possibly think that he had multiple advantages.
No, she was sure it planted. You were sure at the time he planted it, but maybe he found it at red and then planted it. Blue.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he'd like fake found it like because we were not looking and then like worded it up because we had our backs to him at that point in time. Yeah, I was
you
not.
Just thought you thought this guy was playing 4D chess. Like,
yeah, I did.
Like, oh, look at this, another one. Look at me.
But the thing with Shane is such an enigma because as frustrating as Leah was, she was a fucking open book, right? Like she was just talking whatever she wanted to talk about. Quick, exactly. Miss have a chat. We learned about her life story. She's terrified of butterflies. I learned about when she flew in a plane.
Did you guys also get the butterfly story?
Pardon?
Did you guys on the swap tribe also get the butterfly story?
Yes.
Oh my
god. We came around. We're all like getting to know each other, and then there was like just exactly vomiting on the plane story, Michelle. Fucking.
She was obviously like a little bit like nervous because when I met her in real life,
but she just wouldn't let like a silence lie. I think there was like maybe like a 5-second silence in getting to know each other and doing names and those sorts of things. And she was like, "So another fun fact about me."
Yeah,
and I was just like, I don't
She's
need
someone that if you're trying to get
you.
information out of, it would be so easy. You just don't say anything.
Yeah,
and you just wait for more, and she will fill that silence.
Yeah, but it wasn't. There was nothing strategic about what she was saying.
No.
Whereas Shane was the complete opposite. It was just a stonewall. You got absolutely nothing.
To be fair,
it was like, how do I know anything about what he's doing? He could be playing 4D chess at that point. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
If we give Leah some credit, she's actually very smart. Was this an attempt to be like a ditzy moron and look like that to you guys?
And I completely bought it.
Yeah.
I think it was probably a combination of that, but also just a bit of nervous energy.
Mm.
When you're that nervous, a 2-second silence feels like you've been sitting there for like 10 minutes. And so she just, I'll just let me fill it.
Yeah, and coming in as a minority with the only other person, like she wasn't working with Shane, she was working with Joseph, coming into a very strong 4 who were not letting anybody in those cracks. Like that's a fucking rough shot to ride. Like, so power to her for like just feeling the energy. But at that point in time, I was like, go away.
And Shane's lone wolfing it, and Joseph is not someone who, I haven't met Joseph, but you can tell from this that he's happy to sit back and then talk one-on-one. He's not going to be jumping into the conversation with all the information. So she would have felt that from the 3 of them, no one's doing anything. So I've got to keep talking, whereas Joseph was trying to do the one-on-ones and build the connections that way, which was much smarter. Michelle says she knew she was clever. That's why she wanted Joseph, because he seemed they're scary. Yeah, I think Joseph gave those sorts of vibes.
Well, that's it. We had spoken about it before the swap, and the one person we all collectively wanted from the other tribe was Joseph. All of us. That was the one person we wanted.
Mm-hmm. And you got him.
Yeah, you get him eventually.
Yeah.
But then he wouldn't break up with Leah, so it was frustrating.
The Shane moment was quite brilliant. I stand by it. It was your read is absolutely like fair, but it's just not what's going on. So
no, it's not at all. I like.
You got to your answer the right way. You just had the wrong answer.
Yeah, correct.
But anyway, then we go to Edge of Extinction, and TK is there talking about the tribe swap and how the vote went down, and you can see JT is sitting there just waiting to ask. So why was I voted out? He's just like, let TK have his minute. He's just been voted out. He's still processing it. But no. Why was I voted out? And I don't have anything written down about what the answer was. I don't think he got an answer. I think it was just, we just hadn't connected with you as much.
It's such a shit answer. Would any of us 3 be any different, though? Let's be fucking real.
I would give the person a minute.
TK, why? TK knows why he went. He's just in a 4-3 bad swap. Like, whatever. Like,
I feel like the 3 of us have a little bit more awareness.
Yeah, look, maybe.
Maybe? Okay. Maybe Dani and I have a bit more awareness.
I don't know. I got voted out second in drunk driver. That's it. I sort of just self-justified it to myself, I guess.
Yeah. But, you came back. Anyway.
You guys found out later you 2 were conspiring against me that Dani wasn't even there. You were having a right old time, like, enjoying voting me out.
Mm-hmm.
But
I wanted Max to be my ally, and I knew he wouldn't be if you were there.
Who?
Max. I wanted Max to be my ride or die.
I didn't say vote you out. I said split you up. That is what I said. I did not say vote TK out. I said you need to split those boys up.
Yeah.
And I did. Anyway, so still at the edge, Amanda finds a challenge disadvantage that she can give to one of the 2 tribes.
She doesn't think this through properly. She gives it to the wrong tribe.
Well, we don't. What is she trying to achieve? I think
she ends
up giving it to.
She wants to fuck over Red, which means she should put it on Dani's tribe.
If she wants to fuck over Red, she needed to give it to the.
She specifically said she wanted to fuck over Red.
Yeah, and she gave it to the one with the red majority. But...
Correct. So she fucked over Blue.
Yeah, she did. And they
actually would have won the challenge if it wasn't for Amanda playing
because it was a 1 point disadvantage. Red started on -1 and it went to a tiebreaker, as we all remember.
So Amanda did not think this through. It should have
been. We get to the challenge, and I've named it the offensive eating challenge rather than the gross food challenge.
Can I just say for a second? And if she played it right, then she sends Leah home, who was the architect of her demise. Mm-hmm. So it would have been an amazing little circle to Amanda's story if she'd thought about how to actually play this environment properly.
Yeah. Look, it's unfortunate. She probably only had about 2 seconds to decide who she was going to play it on, but anyway.
How did you feel, Dani, when Eli revealed a number of perfectly normal Asian food that you ordered at a restaurant, calling it gross in front of the Asian people in the cast? It's a good thing 2 of them had already been booted because, frankly, this was quite insulting.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't remember thinking much about it in the moment because I was just trying to figure out what it was that was coming. But definitely after the fact and, realizing what he was calling disgusting, it's obviously offensive. In the heat of the moment, I was just focused on, winning. I wasn't really listening to what Eli was saying.
The disgusting element was this food had been purchased, I don't know when, and just sitting out on that table. And some of it was chicken. There's nothing wrong with Asian.
There was plenty of poultry there.
They don't like being left out on a table for a couple of hours before I have to eat it, like Salmonella Central. Nothing to do with the restaurant, of course. Just the food hygiene standards of the Kingsford Smith Memorial Park didn't seem high.
I think, if we're talking about gross food eating challenges, it's Backyard that does it the best, where they just mix shit together that doesn't taste good.
Michelle was noting that the temperature was keeping.
Yeah, it wasn't hot at this point in time.
It was refrigerated outside. It's fine.
Yeah, I accept that point. And Marlene is coming in defense of the Asian aspect by saying Lizzie was happy.
Lizzie was the MVP.
Oh, Lizzie was absolutely MVP, but poor darling.
She wasn't offended. She's like, I have no problem with this food. I eat this food all the time. This isn't even gross. She's not offended.
Well, so we had our first round was Leah versus Lizzie with a chicken feet. Lizzie wins that. And then we had Shane.
By the way, none of this is gross, but that's the one that was
the worst one.
This is slightly odd. The rest of it's just meat.
Yeah. Well, then we had Shane versus Ethan with the abalone, and they're both drinking a lot of water. You don't get water during a gross food challenge.
There should be no water, other than when they almost
have water when you're done.
There should be no water. Why is there water?
Once you finish the challenge, you've opened your mouth. That's when you can have a drink.
What is this water nonsense?
No. Because then you just take it like a tablet.
Yeah.
Just swallow it.
It's ridiculous.
But anyway, so Shane wins that one. And then we have Michelle versus Jazz on the spicy eel. Jazz wins that. That looked delicious. I would love to have tried that.
How spicy was the eel? Who was it? Michelle, how spicy was the eel?
Yeah, how spicy was the eel?
She'll
on a rating of how many chilies would it have on the packet?
Yeah. All right, she'll come to us on that.
We'll get to that. Sam versus Merlene on some duck. Sam wins that.
It's just fucking duck.
There you go. Not too spicy, just chewy.
It's just duck.
Yeah, I love duck, so that would have been fine.
Eli wouldn't eat it though. He wouldn't eat any of that stuff.
It just says chicken. I don't know what kind of chicken it was. It looked like honey chicken or something. It was just chicken and batter.
Marlene was saying her piece was so much smaller than mine and not salty.
Yeah, they didn't look the same. So, were they weighed?
She said that at the time, which was a fair comment. She says it live in the real time. Eli just dismisses it.
Yeah, no, they're fine.
Eli's got his favorites.
Yeah. So Kristie gets some chicken and she goes, no, thank you. I'm a vegetarian. I am not eating this. And so she swaps out with Lizzie. Lizzie crushes that. She gets on top of the table to eat it.
Can we stop for a second? I had a strong view at the time.
You did.
That I'm not into this, and I'm still not. And I don't believe that Eli would have let anyone in the cast get away with it. That wasn't Kristie. That is the celebrity. And look, if I was in Eli's shoes, right, I would probably do the same thing. Anyone else says to me, I'm not eating, I'm like, well, fine, it's your own fault for being a vegetarian.
I think you need to. People are vegetarian. That's something. It's not like somebody I don't want. It's not Matty P claiming he's vegetarian because he doesn't want to eat any of it.
Okay. How do you feel though if you had that on The Real Survivor?
This isn't The Real Survivor though.
How do you feel about it on The Real Survivor?
On The Real Survivor, I think Kimmy Kappenberg needed to just step up and eat it. But I think, look, that's when you get to a point of going, all right, I'm just going to forfeit the point for my tribe. Yeah. And if that means I get voted out, I get voted out. But we are not playing for $500,000. You might be willing to break your vegetarianism for $500,000. You might not be willing to for how much did Sam get for this one? For
did he get anything?
Did you get anything?
Just regurgitate it after. Just stick your fingers in your throat and throw it up. What's the difference?
Anyway, I think this is a different kettle of fish.
Dani, how did you feel seeing
Dani,
how did you feel seeing the other tribe be able to swap out their eater to their absolute MVP person once they saw what it was?
I mean, at that point, I was still felt aligned with Kristie, so I was like, well, if she doesn't want to eat, she's a vegetarian. Like, that's fine. I wasn't particularly worried at that point in time.
I think they needed to, if they're aware that there's people that are vegetarian, have your vegetarian options, because there was nothing on other than the Muesli bar. There was nothing here that was vegetarian.
Correct.
And you need to have your vegetarian options and go, right, this first one, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's vegetarian. Or have every single option be able to have everyone eat.
Yeah.
Again, go to Backyard when they're putting Wheat Bix with Vegemite and asparagus. Like, it's everyone can eat every single thing that they put up.
They put a lot of, they do sardines in pretty much all of their shakes every season.
You might be right there.
It's always sardines. They love the sardines.
But anyway, Lizzie absolutely demolishes the chicken. And then so we get to a tiebreaker of Dani v. Kristie, and Kristie nearly dies.
She would have been better off eating the meat.
She probably would have been, yeah. Oh.
A Muesli bar was the poor choice, but obviously they hadn't planned for this and they ran out of material.
Oh, 100%. They had not planned for the tie. They had not planned for I think that's been said that they didn't think that the disadvantage was coming at this point in time. I think it was a last minute disadvantage. So they hadn't planned ahead for that.
Michelle says vegetarian should always be chili. Yeah, give them a whole chili and just bite into that.
I like that. Or blue cheese.
No, I'd go to town on some blue cheese.
Some people don't like blue cheese. Would you eat blue cheese, Dani?
For a challenge, I would.
Yeah, but
I would eat it just on a charcuterie board.
I'm not eating it on a board.
No, I would eat it on board.
Oh, God, on a cracker with some quince paste.
You can get the, not just blue cheese, like the stinkiest cheese there is.
Yeah, the smellier the better.
There's better stuff you can do for these things. Smelly cheese. I
just like the bad combinations.
You can do spiced, really spicy salami. Obviously, only non-vegetarians, but like a soup, they're covered in chili seeds. I once did an Amazing Race thing where we ate pressed tongue. It was it's tongue. Basically, it's tongues in a jelly loaf, and then it's cut, and you had to eat the tongues in the you can't see the tongue. It's like a slice, right? But they're in the jelly, and then there's the bits of tongue. That was texturally really gross. Like, that made you gag. Dani's gagging.
What about just the salada challenge? Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
Where you get a whole salada and you go try and eat it without drinking any water. It's harder than it sounds.
Oh, yeah, well, it has.
I don't know if the maggots. I don't know if the maggots. The pressed tongue was on an amateur Amazing Race I did many, many years ago. I think the grossest thing I probably saw on the Amazing Race was the deep fried tarantulas. That looks pretty tough.
I think you could do that.
Yeah.
It's just an actual tarantula in the deep fry and then you just eat it. You could do that?
I think so. It's crunchy.
But I didn't like soft shell crab. Anyway,
I love soft shell crab. So I'd put my head, I'd be like, soft shell crab, soft shell crab, soft shell crab.
Yeah, see, I think I would be fine at any of these.
No, she'll eat the tarantulas.
Yeah, I just have to try and get over what it is that I'm eating. But anyway, thanks to Kristie. First of all, Kristie couldn't even open the Muesli bar.
Yeah.
Dani, you had half a Muesli bar head start because you were able to open it. That's
I'm also a mum who opens Muesli bars that's 10 times a day.
Coming in.
I like how they had to open that. I like how they had to open it. I like how it wasn't open for them. I like that. Jules, you felt it should have been open, perhaps?
I just, I don't know. I just thought it was funny that was probably the hardest part, opening the Muesli bar.
That completely gave me an advantage, being able to the fact that I do that.
Rip it open.
There was I did this in my sleep. Like kids are awake in the morning. I'm like,
Yeah, here you go.
I'm trying to sleep in. Yeah.
Thomas is going into asking the hard-hitting questions. We spent more time on this food challenge than we have.
Look, we ranted about it a lot in the real time. We're ranting about it again. And to be fair, in my notes, I didn't really have much in there about after the challenge because it was very straightforward. Lizzie was voted out 5-1. Correct. There was no real push to save Lizzie, I don't think.
Who would be pushing it? Kristie's just throwing her under the bus.
Well, in the episode, we didn't see anything about there potentially being a Kristie vote over Lizzie. That is something that is referenced at Final Tribal. Jazz claims that it was her that switched it on to Lizzie instead of Kristie, but we didn't see that in the episode. But yeah, she votes for Merlene. I think just because she voted for her last time, I don't think there was any hope of her surviving. She knew she was done.
And after she just done so well for them, poor thing.
Yeah, she got 2 of their 3 points or something. I don't know how many points they got, but she got 2 points.
Yeah.
As we say, challenges don't matter. you stick to the strategic move.
I tend to agree with the challenges don't matter, especially because there's not going to be another eating challenge coming up. But anyway. So on to episode 5. We're at the Red Tribe. We've got sort of Kristie looks like she's becoming the swing vote. She's forming a little group with Ethan and Maddie P, but Merlene approaches her and is like, oh, we'll do an Ethan blindside next round. That's why we've kept you. It's all for nothing anyway, because they don't go to another tribal as the 5 of them alone, as we get to later in this episode. But we go to the edge of extinction. Lizzie wants to know who played the disadvantage. She finds out it's Amanda, because that is the reason she is there, because of that disadvantage.
Amanda's mistaken play of how to get back at the Reds.
Yeah. And we see her tell TK that Kristie voted for him because when he was recounting, he was like, he didn't remember if it was a 5-2 vote or a 4-3. So I think he was not that happy when he found out that Kristie did vote for him.
Yes, because he was so blue strong and his grand plan put them all together.
Yeah.
Do you think, did TK, when he walked into that, look, I appreciate it was under pressure, but did he have the thought of, well, I'm playing with a survivor winner here. Maybe I should talk to her about what our strategy would be as a 3 of how we could best manage this. I felt like he did something that maybe I might do and go, I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna take Lizzie and I'm gonna take this other woman that I'm playing with, and I'm going to get us through this mess because that's what men do. Not call upon the advice of the very intelligent survivor player you have with you. I appreciate that he only had 5 minutes, but if his plan was to stick blue strong, he probably should have done more of a blue collaboration. He agrees with me.
Yeah, because Dani, remind me, after you had the swap, did you go back to your tribes before the challenge, or it was just straight into the challenge, straight to tribal?
No, I went back.
Yeah, did you go back after the swap?
Yeah, they did. TK wanted his moment. He had a moment.
So I just think, obviously, going to the first tribal after the swap, you've got a lot less time to make those connections. It's harder to make them when you're under that pressure of going to tribal. So I think if you win the first challenge, you've got a bit of time there where you're not trying to strategize. You're literally just getting to know people.
He says he talked with them. Did you talk at them or did you talk with them?
Did you listen or did you talk?
Did you try to problem solve? Anyway.
Thomas is not. Look, this is unfair because TK is probably very, very good at listening and working with them. Because I think he's a special needs educator. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of educators in this cast.
Yeah, but a special needs educator in particular.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Even more so.
Yeah, I'm sure he told everyone that. That's the sort of job that makes you go like, "What a great guy." Did you tell everyone that?
I thought that till he put my name out there.
I was like 5 minutes in.
I don't care how many special need kids you help, TK. You go and
that's my name out your mouth. Anyway, so we go to the challenge. Both tribes are going to go to tribal. That's all they know at this point.
Sorry, TK's jumping in. This is his moment. No, he's never had this. Kristie wanted Merlene gone, so I listened to her. Interesting concepts here.
Awesome tea there. We didn't see that.
He says he's an asshole. I don't think he's an asshole.
As a player, he's an asshole. As a human, he's a beautiful soul.
Can relate. Anyway, So, yeah, we find out at the challenge, both tribes are going to go to tribal. We don't know that there's a twist yet. We just know that everyone's gone tribal and they're playing for individual immunity. But the sun's out because guns came out. But we're holding a 10-kilo bag of sand above your head. And that did not look fun.
This challenge was actually good.
This was a good challenge. I enjoyed it. Dani,
I
believe you were the first one to drop out.
The weight had been relative to the weight of the contestants.
Yes.
We discussed this in real time, and I think it was, having to ask people what their weight is not great. But, yeah, look, potentially. Because
you both were on Melbourne Survivor 4. I asked you both your weight. Was it that big of a deal?
No, I didn't know what it was for either, and I wish I'd lied. What if I'd known?
That's not revealing anything that's in the first episode. But I asked them both their weight, and I agree it was slightly awkward to ask, but it's going to be.
We didn't know what it was for. I assumed that it was like it was a challenge where we were gonna have to be in a harness or something, like something that you needed to know. Our weight for safety.
Irrespective, it was for a challenge. That's why I'm asking you. I get that it's a bit of an improper question, but it's going to be for a challenge and Survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, because if we look at who wins this challenge, it's Ethan and Luke. Two bigger guys that, are probably going to be a bit stronger.
And Shane's there at the end.
Merlene is there right at the end.
Merlene's obviously super fit and strong as well herself.
But she's probably half the size of those boys.
Yeah, if she'd been given a weight relative bag, she probably
she would have crushed it. Yeah. Because we see the first two people to drop out being Dani and Leah, the two smaller people.
Dani gave up. She wanted to chat.
My bag was coming out.
Yeah.
My bag was the rice bag was coming out of the sack it was in, and there was no way I could fix it.
Pillowcase.
Why were they in the pillowcases to begin with?
I don't know.
I recall though in the real time you said you wanted to go out early so you could chat with people.
No, Leah said that.
That was Leah, because Leah dropped out immediately.
Leah dropped in seconds after I went down because she was hoping to get in my ear.
Yeah. So we get Ethan and Luke winning immunity. Both tribes, we find out the big twist. You're both going to attend tribal together. You can vote for any one of the two tribes, and the top two vote getters are going out.
Probably the worst.
What was your thought with this twist?
I was trying to think about it 2 years ago. I thought it was super interesting, and I was trying to play all the combinations. In my head, I was excited because we had Kristie on the other side, so I was obviously convinced of that alliance at that point. They were, even though by that point she's been over there the same amount of time that she was with us, I was rock solid in her. So I was excited about it.
Conceptually, it's the worst twists in any of the 11 LRGs. I know.
I'm going to see you and raise you Tied Destinies, but
I like Tied Destinies. I liked it in South Africa. I like it here.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But they had the same thing in Backyard Yards Apart, which we just covered, but it was post-merge, which I think is slightly better than Swap. But notwithstanding the concept is stupid, it does, luckily for the season and the episode, result in some incredible gameplay from Kristie, which makes it a fantastic watch.
Some really good gameplay and some really shit gameplay.
But it shouldn't have generated that. That outcome sort of is a bit unbelievably unexpected. I don't know what outcome they were hoping for, but I doubt it was that.
Watching her run rings around me.
Yes, it's amazing.
Run rings. I was just
amazing.
Just the fact that social play in real time. The
fact that Shane is the target for Ethan and for Maddie and for Jazz and Merlene, they are going to target someone who is from their original tribe on the other side. And then Ethan publicly tells everyone, guys, Shane's got an idol. We are going to vote for him. If you think someone has an idol, and if they were going to vote for someone else, that was a brilliant play. If that was all a smoke screen and we're actually voting for Dani, brilliant. Do that. But don't publicly announce that you believe someone has an idol and then vote for them.
The question is, what was Ethan actually doing? Because he saved himself and he saved Matt, so he didn't really give a shit what happened to the rest of the tribe.
He was immune and he saved without power on Matt. But he still lost 2 allies.
Was Shane his ally? He lasted longer than Shane in this game.
No. Shane wasn't an ally.
Was Jazz and Malene were trying to get rid of him. He didn't actually lose anyone.
This is true.
Like, from Ethan's point of view, it actually worked out really well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, do you think Jazz and Malene are working with him, like, at the merge? Yeah,
Malene says, our brains were so fried, we assumed we had lost Shane, Leah and Joseph to the other tribe. But yes, poor strategy.
Look, you had lost Joseph. I think you could have had Leah back, and then maybe Joseph.
Leah was coming back. Leah refused to vote for Merlene in that vote.
Ethan abandoned us. You just said before that you were planning on bringing Kristie to vote him out. Like, if it had been a normal tribal. Admittedly, you hadn't done that, but that was your plan. Maybe he felt that. He abandoned you. If that's a normal tribal, there's no way Kristie goes. She's king making who goes out.
Absolutely.
The best bit that I love is when they're running through all the potential options. They're like, who's over there? Who's over in the other tribe? and then they're like, you know the blue people, Kristie. So yeah.
I don't remember their names.
And she's like, Luke, we were. And they're like, oh, Luke's immune. Oh, she's like, oh, that's right. Like,
and then Dani and Michelle, they're not really that good at challenges.
No. She says to Dani and Michelle, oh, they're a bit nothing. They're a bit quiet.
Yeah, they're not really doing anything.
They're not really doing anything.
Does it not occur to these people that she's lying?
And then, so that's what she says about those 3. And then she's like, I don't want to vote for Sam. Like, she says that. So she basically knocks out all 4 in a sort of different way without saying they're all basically my alliance. And then somebody gets it. They're talking about Reds. It's ridiculous.
It's brilliant.
It's a masterclass.
It's brilliant.
But so I've got something in my notes about Eli's encouraging the live tribal. I think, CK, when you mentioned before, what were they hoping for with this twist? That's what they were hoping for. A live tribal. I don't think they cared about what kind of result they were going to get. It was something entertaining, a twist. I think Eli loves his twists, and they wanted a tribal where everyone's talking to everyone else, and we kind of get that, but not that much.
Not really. Ethan just blows it up, calls out Shane's idol, gives Maddie the safety without power, and then just sits back and watches the fireworks.
But I don't think it changed a single vote, because we get Shane plays his idol. We would have had a 4-4-2-1. Shane getting 4 votes, Merlene getting 4 votes. I actually don't have it written down which way it was Merlene or Jazz, but Merlene and Jazz 4 votes and 2 votes, and then 1 single vote for Kristie from Shane. But Shane plays his idol, so Merlene and Jazz get voted out.
For reasons.
So, with expecting that live tribal, if he had let us go and talk and do what we like. That could have happened. But that whole time that we were in tribal, he was talking to us, over us, told us to stop talking. He quashed any chances of that being a more live tribal than what it was.
Yeah.
It's a dumb twist. It doesn't
inserted himself as a host for his own king-making at that point.
I recall at the time us discussing a lot about why Shane voted for Kristie. That wasn't something he was told to do by you guys, was it? It was just doing his own thing.
No, that's his own. That was his.
Who was he supposed to vote for?
Would it be? Well, we had
Jazz or Merlene.
Yeah, Merlene or Jazz. We figured out we had the numbers to do that. So
did you originally have votes on Matt before the safety with power was played?
No.
Was there a switch there?
No, it was always Jazz and Merlene.
Did you?
Merlene was our main target. Merlene was the one I want. I didn't want her anywhere near merge. She was always that target there. And then I think we ended up with the split, went the split way, mainly because Leah refused to vote for Merlene. Point blank was I'm not doing that. And that obviously rang alarm bells for me, being I can't let either of them get back together. Post this, because that's not a situation I want to happen. So even though I was doing the same thing with Kristie, I was I'm not voting for Kristie. So
there's no interest in voting for that.
We didn't have Leah and Joseph and Shane at least agreeing to vote for Merlene and then just doing their own thing. Because if the 3 of them had voted together,
Yeah, how did you split those votes? Were you guys split on tribal lines with the numbers? Or was it divided, male, female?
I can't remember how we were split.
I think it was the four original Blues voted Merlene, and then the others were voting for Jazz.
Yeah, that would have made the most sense.
I think that was the way. I think actually was the right way to do it because it guaranteed you at least one because they can't miss
one target right,
and you could see which of them were being honourable to saying they were committed.
And if you've got it split along tribal lines, if they both flip, then you end up you don't get either of your targets.
That's right. So you're better off doing it there. And you could test whether they were being honest with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Sam says you had control over one person as opposed to risking what the Reds did, which were fracture and result in basically two of them going. Mm-hmm. But as I stand by, I don't think Ethan cared much.
No. As long as him and Maddie were safe, I think he was good.
Yeah.
And in that position, you're better off coming in a minority into the merge.
Intentional matching.
And even if if they had lost the last challenge, they're voting out Kristie. Aren't they? Like he and Matt are just in a perfectly safe position.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good outcome for Ethan. I don't know if he planned it all to happen that way, but the outcome, you can't plan it, but you're like, worst case scenario is this, and that's fine. The worst case scenario is it's me and Matt and one of these other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who would you? So Merlene's chimed in here. Who of the Blues would you have targeted if you'd figured that out sooner?
I think it's you.
I think it's me, but
I would say so.
Potentially you and Michelle.
I think everyone liked Michelle at that point.
I think you're copying the votes, Dani.
Yeah. I think this is the only tribal I go to that I don't cop votes. At this point. This is the only tribal I go to that I don't cop votes.
Yeah. Well, I think the one you went out, you didn't actually cop any votes.
That's true.
They should have been more switched on to Kristie's unwillingness. Like,
but I mean, that's just like the enigma of like an Australian Survivor player. Yeah, we would have sent Dani.
Mm-hmm.
We would have sent Dani from.
Yeah, we would have sent Dani because
Kristie would not have been happy with that.
She would not have been happy with that.
She would not have accepted that.
However, Kristie is nothing but pragmatic when she can't do anything about it. So she will go along. If that's what was happening and she couldn't change it, that's what she'd do. She's got to keep a perfect voting record that she only ruined on Shane. I think she means like a perfect voting record from Australian Survivor she ruined on Shane, on a split vote on Shane.
Mm-hmm.
It
would have said Dani that power. Oh, that's actually, I didn't think of that.
And then does Sam go? Sam and Michelle, yeah.
Yeah, so hang on, they're going, no, we would have sent Dani with the safety of power back to tribal council, so she would be safe.
But also wouldn't have been able to vote.
Yeah.
So then they would have
had... the numbers a bit more
okay.
Even, yeah, and then voted Sam or Michelle. Smart.
So they would have had Ethan, Matt, they would have had their 4 votes and then tried to pull in.
Was this the plan, Marlene? Is this what you mean by Ethan abandoned us? He was supposed to do that, and instead he played it on Maddie. That was a surprise that he played it on Maddie. Is that what we're saying here?
No, she's saying they only thought about it later.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we've all done that, haven't we?
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah.
I still am thinking of stuff like, damn it, that would have been smart to do.
Yep.
But anyway.
Marlene and Jazz go.
Episode 6.
Yeah.
So we see Maddie all excited that he's back at camp. But then he sees Merlene and Jazz walk past him going to Edge of Extinction. She's like, shit. That didn't need to happen. And at Edge of Extinction, Jazz is saying that, they should have realized that they were splitting and they should have voted for someone other than Shane. And yes, they should have.
Oh, Shane.
They know he has an idol. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But also, he was on your tribe. You voted the only tribal council you went to with him, you voted with him.
Mm-hmm.
You all voted together. The 6 of you. What are you doing? you putting this guy? Why is everyone turning off for Shane? And why is Shane with the Blues? He hardly ingratiated himself with the Reds. What, you think he went over to the Blues and became everyone's bestie? Like,
Nope.
Poor Shane.
Yeah. We see Merlene finds the advantage for the Battleback Challenge, which it's a decent advantage. It's not a game changer. So we'll get to that when we get to the Battleback Challenge. But yeah.
It's sufficiently balanced. It's sufficiently balanced.
Yeah, it was balanced. And then JT finds an extra vote that he can give to someone in the game. He wants to give it to Shane since he's heard he's on the outs, and he wants to try and work with him if he gets back in.
It's the right play. I like
Absolutely,
it. And
it's the
it's
right
funny
play.
that Shane gets another advantage.
They run out of room to list all his advantages on his little screen. It's like Shane advantage, there's little heads there in his confessional because it's taking up the whole screen.
It was the right move.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the person you got to give it to. And then we have another children's party game. We have a sack race, we have an egg and spoon race, and some quotes.
Yeah, well, the egg and spoon and the sack are a bit dumb, but the quotes are exciting, and it really is quite epic between Shane and Ethan. Mm-hmm. And Ethan wins, and it's an amazing celebration with himself and Matt and Kristie. And I think it's a fantastic moment. As I say, this is probably the best challenge in terms of, ignore the stupid sack race and the egg, but once you get
to the stakes
and the quoits is fine. That's like a survivor thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So when that's happening, that's an intense moment. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, we were pretty happy too. We were happy for that to happen. That was fine. Like that was like,
well,
I'm pretty sure we clapped. We were like, yay!
Yeah.
Like, there was no, we were not sad about the tribal council.
If she went to another tribal.
Pardon?
You had to know that Kristie was going to go if she went to tribal.
Yeah, and like, and
there
we.
Was some, well, can I say there was some discussion about you guys throwing the challenge, and you obviously completely didn't do that because I think all three of the former Reds are the ones that compete.
Yes, we sat out.
Yeah, so
I don't think I could throw a challenge if I tried. I'm just not wired that way. I'd be in the middle of it and I would just play too hard. So I just chose to remove myself from the equation.
If you were standing next to Kristie throwing quotes, are you telling me you wouldn't think about, hang on, if I get all these quotes?
She's a Scorpio. We don't have it.
I don't think when I'm competing, I am there to win. Like I can't. It all goes out the window. It doesn't like I'm there to win. Rain, hail, shine. Like I don't. Yeah, we talked about throwing it, but we didn't.
Scorpios, we won't even let children win at games. Like we can't throw challenges.
I just can't. So I sat out. That was my version of throwing the challenge.
It's not throwing the challenge because you put the three people that needed to win the most in the community.
Yeah, high stakes for them. They had to earn it for themselves.
And they didn't step up.
Even Michelle's the same. It hurts her brain to think about throwing a challenge. We spoke about it. We were like, I think we need to throw this, but I don't know if we can.
I think Sam could have thrown it. The rest of you obviously can't do it.
No, I can't.
I don't think Luke could either.
But we also knew we had to go to tribal council. Like we knew we needed to not win that.
Yeah.
You could have just done a caravan and just been like, you know what, we're going to go to tribal, screw the challenge.
Just walk off. Yeah, that's a move.
Yeah, I just asked to go to tribal council. I think it would
have
have to be unanimous at that point, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they had to be unanimous.
Yeah, so like Leah and Joseph and Shane are not going to agree to go to tribal council when it's a 4-3.
I wouldn't make assumptions about what Shane would do. Who knows?
Yeah, but it was still not like Leah and Joseph are not going to go. Let's be fair.
Yeah. So you go there and Leah's done. Goodbye, Leah.
I think I skipped back to camp at that point.
There was a bit of discussion about like Leah versus Joseph, but it
was never. It was Leah always.
If Shane was a different player, he could have saved her, but he had no interest in sharing his advantages.
That would have been so smart to play the idol on Leah. Take out one of you guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Didn't he also have an extra vote? Could have made it a tie.
I don't know. Did you have it already?
Yes,
he did. Yeah, he's not going to make it.
Extra votes are pretty useless. That's about the one time it could have had some value.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have thought of that.
That'd be an interesting one because I think they would break. I don't think you four would break.
No.
You go to rocks?
That's my brain to think about too.
But then there's the question of does the extra vote count on a revote?
It should. It should always. Shane can play his island himself. Is he really that worried? And he's fine. That's what he should do as well. He should make 4-4, play the idol on himself, so he's safe no matter what.
He probably wouldn't have known what happened in the tie, though.
Yeah, okay. Look, he doesn't know the rules. But what he should do is play the idol himself. He's safe. Extra vote, 4-4. Share this information with Leah and Joseph. I think notwithstanding whatever they've agreed with you blue guys, they're in for that plan because this is fucking Survivor and now we're like rocking up the advantages. This is going to be epic. Plus, they have the numbers advantage then in the rock draw because Shane plays the idol on himself. So now you have the worst case.
And because Leah's not taking it. So it would have only been Joseph drawing a rock.
Yeah, Joseph versus 3 of you.
Well, I would have copped the votes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're safe.
You're not drawing a rock.
I'm not drawing rocks.
It'd be Joseph, Michelle, Sam, and Luke drawing rocks.
Michelle, Sam, you're in the chat. Would you draw rocks for Dani? Is the question?
For a 3 and 4 chance that one of you are going.
Yeah, 3 and 4.
No, 4 and 5 chance.
4 or 5. Would you draw rocks for Dani, Sam, and Michelle?
Dani's keen for that tea. I would have gone to rock for you, Dani.
That's what could have happened. It would have been an incredible tribal council with all of, and then it would have got rid of all.
Yeah,
Michelle.
That's it. Yeah, I understood. I get that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think particularly when we spelled out this scenario where it's gone down to Joseph is the only one available.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like
I think I could see Michelle trying to smooth talk Joseph into flipping his vote, but if he's sticking firm, bye, Dani.
Yeah, no.
I don't think Joseph in this scenario is flipping because it's too exciting. It's too exciting of a play to be a part of.
Yeah.
It's like the David versus Goliath where they came together with all the advantages and the nullifier and it was such an incredible moment. It was just like that. You would not back down.
No, absolutely not.
It would have been.
I think our fan fiction is just making it even better.
It is.
It would. It would. Shane would be lauded as the greatest move of all time. She would have done everything.
She would have done everything to save Dani.
Except go to rocks.
Go to rocks. Yeah, there wasn't much that could be done in that scenario to save you. The scenario that I've come up with here, there would not be much to save you. And it would be good because then all the advantages other than the legacy are gone pre-merge, and you're going to.
At least either way, I go out in a crazy fashion. At least either way.
Yeah, no straightforward votes for you.
Yeah.
Yes, but you don't make the merge, but you're still on the jury, so do you really care?
I do.
Probably would have won the battle back.
Maybe.
There you go. Wouldn't that be a story?
That would be a story.
Okay, well, to the battle back, to the merge.
Yep, so we go, the red tribe, where there's only 3 people left. They're all publicly looking for an item. They're like, we find it. It's our item for the 3 of us. And Kristie's like, yeah, fuck no. If I find that, that's mine. Which, yeah, fair.
But she didn't find it. The others who find all the shit.
They didn't find it yet, but yes, the other 2 found things that they believed were 2 idols. Everyone goes to the tribal council area. You merge. We get that little celebration, throwing in coloured buffs in, and we have the battle back challenge. Is that the merge buff?
Yep.
Oh, look at that. I thought you just had a scrunchie on.
No, it's my merge buff.
I think she's being installed into the buffs.
Sam, Dani, always and forever. Hashtag.
He never thought about it for 5 minutes, and he's not going to the rocks, apparently.
I probably wouldn't go to rocks for them either. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Oh, hang on, no. It's because Michelle said, not rocks. She'll do anything to save you, but not rocks.
Not rocks. Yeah, it's fine.
Would do anything for Dani, but I won't do that.
To be fair,
I'm the same though. I feel the same. I would do anything but go to rocks.
I was prepared to go in the 5-5 I was trying to create with Dale. I was prepared to go to rocks for Max. But that is a 4-4 even chance. It's not a 1-4 situation.
That scenario, it's not.
Yeah. I'm doing a 4-4, just take the punt. But on the scenario that we're proposing, no one's sticking to those rocks.
No.
So yeah, we get our battle back. They've got to bounce the ball on the board. They're all the boards are different sizes. They don't have them uniform, so we randomly draw to pick which one you go for. Merlin's
I like
advantage.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too, because if you can't have them be the same, well,
let people make their own selection and randomly determine.
And it clearly didn't matter too much because Jazz did not pick first.
Yeah, but I don't think they were picking the right ones. I don't think people were thinking about.
Well, there was some of them were bigger, but that also made them heavier. So I think it was hard to know what strategy to go for.
Yeah, I don't think I would know the optimal board strategy here.
No.
How many times have you sat there bouncing a ball on a bit of wood?
And not just a ball on a bit of wood, but sample different weights and sizes to determine my optimal ball bouncing plate.
Yeah, no, you kind of have to go with your gut. But yeah, Merlin's advantage is 10 seconds, which is a pretty fair amount of time. Because by the time she starts, we've got a couple of people dropping out, but clearly it wasn't enough to win her the challenge.
They
so
also need to stand in a hula hoop, so they can't really
run around with it.
Yeah.
And we see Jazz win and re-enter the game.
This is actually a pretty good battle back challenge.
It's a very even battle back challenge. I
even.
think it's not something that someone is just going to dominate. It's a bit of like, oh, all right, how many of us have ever done this before?
Yeah, correct.
Backyard battle backs are always ridiculously elaborate and take an hour, and it's too much.
Yeah. This one I think was over in less than 60 seconds.
To be fair, and that's in their one-day games, and they wonder how they end up at 2 a.m. So I think this was a smart way of doing it. I'm giving compliments to challenges that were good because we're knocking so many of them.
Because there's so many that were terrible, so we'll compliment the ones.
Yeah.
Credit where credit's due. So then we go back to camp and where everyone's mingling and talking, and that's where we see just before they go to the immunity challenge, Maddie P finds an idol. So good.
No, we didn't see him find the idol, do we? We didn't see it.
I think they we see him opening it and reading it. We don't see him physically.
It wasn't caught on camera.
Yeah. And then we have the challenge, and it's everyone's favorite twist.
Hasn't Ethan found the?
Not yet. That's later. Okay. I'll get to that. I'm the one with the notes. All right.
No, you're the notes.
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain.
Look at me. All right. So we get our pairs. It's uncanny the way everyone's shaken out. Pretty much everyone is with their best ally.
Like it was rigged.
Except Michelle.
Except Michelle.
Yeah, but there was no one that Michelle could be with other than you, Dani, and that would have put Kristie randomly.
Yeah. So we've got Ethan and Maddie are together, BFFs. Luke and Sam are together, BFFs. Dani and Kristie are together, BFFs. Joseph and Shane, not so much BFFs, but, semi.
Same tribe. Been with the same tribe the whole time.
Yeah. The two odd ones out, Michelle and Jazz together. I think I said this at the time, though, that's probably the safest pair, to be with someone you're not aligned with, because someone's always going to want to save you. Anyone who wants to get out is not going to be too upset.
I don't think a single person there was particularly interested in saving Jazz.
No, but they're also not going to be
Michelle keeps her safe.
Yeah. I think if someone's targeting Kristie, they're probably also wanting Dani to go. But if Dani is with Joseph, well, I really want Dani gone, no, but I don't want Joseph gone.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I pulled that fucking pink rock and I was like, I was like so happy to be back.
I have been tethered to the biggest target in the entire game.
Exactly. I was just like, this is not the position I need to be in right now. Like, I was just like, I'm so happy to see you, but fuck off. Not the person I need to be targeted with, like aligned with right now.
Yeah, but obviously this is your dooms, your downfall. You're done for this. But wouldn't you got to be best friends with Kristie, and would you be best friends as much if you hadn't been voted out here together? Maybe?
Oh, look, it's a very cool story, and I love it now. But at the moment in time, I was just like, come on, man. How do I survive merge aligned with Kristie Bennett?
Yeah.
It would have been very interesting had you stayed in the game, if we just postulated a bit forward on that. Are you four going to the end, or at some point is two of you grabbing Kristie? Is it the five of you at the end? Are we getting that sort of boring season?
Well, that was my initial. That was my thought process, and we've talked about it as the 5, like the Katoomba 5. Like that, I would have getting down to the line. I think as soon as Luke doesn't win immunity, I attempt to target him because I don't want him anywhere near final 3. And then similar with Kristie, like at 5 or 6, I would have cut her loose too, but I would have gone with Sam and Michelle.
You didn't have the Joseph level confidence that you could beat Kristie?
No.
I don't know where that was coming from.
I'm not letting her anywhere near final travel.
Joseph wanted her there so he could be the one to beat her. Like, how good would that make you? I like that he told that story like there was no reality where she beats him. It's just like...
Yeah. I fully backed myself against anybody else there in a final tribal council. And I think in my head, going with Sam and Michelle, I knew their games inside and out, and I felt I could have talked better than they did.
Yeah, neither of them particularly great. Neither of them particularly great at the final tribal. So sure.
Yeah, I felt I would have been very verbose.
No offense to you in the chat, Michelle and Sam, but you're not spectacular at it. But appreciate it's a long day.
Yeah. So we have our challenge. One person is throwing balls to knock cans over, and the other person
Michelle, don't be too offended by my comments about your final tribal council.
We'll get there.
I think you're talking about Dani. But anyway.
Yeah, I love you.
So yeah, one person's throwing a ball, knock cans over. The other person does a child's puzzle. Luke just puts the pieces into the puzzle board and wins, and Maddie's there trying to line the colours up properly. And apparently that was a loser strategy. Just put them in.
As Maddie says, as Luke says himself soon after the challenge, anyone who got there first was going to pass it in 5 seconds. It was that simple.
It's easy. It's easy. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Now, in the real time, I recall this was a significant point of discussion for our podcast. I can't recall if we were the ones who came up with this, or if someone on the cast had complained about this issue. But I do recall that Eli hadn't really considered the issue with the puzzle until we really went hard on it.
No, it had not been discussed until we were doing the podcast.
Did we come up with it? Me and you, Jules, noticed it?
I think other people had mentioned it, like it was in the comments.
Yes, on Facebook. People were talking about it on Facebook.
Yeah, I think I'd had a discussion with John, not this John Tan from Melbourne Survivor. I think he and I had that discussion. A couple of people were sort of like, there was a completed puzzle at the front and it didn't look like that.
And it got a special mention from Eli in the finale about the puzzle failure. Michelle was the instigator. It appears that Michelle may have been the instigator about
Michelle would have crushed it.
The Puzzle Gates saga.
And we've played this out. We played this out after the original pod, in the big group chat, how that vote would have gone.
If Maddie and Shane win. Maddie and
Ethan win. And Josh, Luke and Sam go here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's right. I already recall
there's no discussion about it. Luke and Sam go here. As much as I don't vote for them, they go here.
Do. Yeah.
Well, they're the most sensible people to vote out. They're both very threatening. And we
know that there's idols that Ethan and Maddie are going to be safe. Shane and Joseph are going to be safe.
Look, there's the option that's between Dani and Kristie and Shane and Sam and Luke in that scenario. But as far as Ethan and Maddie are aware, they're in an absolute tight-ass trio with Kristie, so they're not going to target that. I always found this how it was Matt who got the specialized custom pops made by Todd. Yeah, about their 3 and the special pops and shared. And I'm like, but you weren't a 3. She was never with you guys. What is this fantasy?
Number 5.
Yeah. She goes both ways, all right?
You got the pops together and the Todd sending. I'm like, this wasn't a thing. What's going on? Yeah. Anyway, they weren't voting.
And then after the challenge, this is when Ethan finds the nullifier. He doesn't check it. He just thinks he's found an idol. And even when he's going up to the voting booth and talking, I've got this, I've got an idol, still doesn't open it and have a look what's in the bag. So
this is trying to understand Ethan's point of view, right? he has found one advantage already, and he opened it, and he didn't know what it was. So now he knows there's advantages in Survivor that he's not aware of. On the other hand, that one was a piece of paper where he can clearly feel there's something physical in this bag, something solid. And there's probably no other advantage in Survivor besides an idol.
But you still want to nullify. You want to physically look at the idol.
And it could have rules around the idol, like when you can play it, how you can play it, at what point
you want to read
like,
the rules.
Rules to idols.
You want to read the rules.
Sure. Yeah.
Because you want to know when it expires.
Look, Jules and I are never not opening a package that we've I cannot understand Ethan's perspective, and I will never.
I want to see what it looks like.
I want to put it on and talk about it in a confessional.
100%. I want to wear that thing.
Yeah.
All the things you're saying are less good than the TV he gave us.
Yeah.
Correct. 100%.
This is true.
He gives
All right, here's a question though. If Ethan knew what he had, now obviously he couldn't have nullified. I think I asked you this, Dani. He couldn't nullify the legacy advantage.
Can't nullify the legacy advantage. No.
But would he have played it on Shane anyway?
Yeah, he was gung ho about Shane.
Yeah,
he was like that. He would have absolutely played that on Shane.
Yeah. But anyway, so we get to tribal.
First, Ethan is strong arming Joseph.
Oh, Ethan's strong arming everyone that we've got to vote Shane. We've got to vote Shane out. I'm telling you, Shane's got to go.
But obviously, that's not his plan for Joseph because that doesn't.
He tells Joseph we're voting for Shane.
No, he's telling Joseph we're voting for Shane. So, like, you need to do something else with us. You need to come with us and vote for, presumably, Jazz and Michelle. Is that what they want?
I don't know what they want.
Is that what they want? Jazz and Michelle?
I don't know.
That seems like the only logical choice that they would.
We don't see what Ethan actually says, other than it's CK attempting to stand up for Ethan at every turn, ORCA to ORCA, but there's no way of getting around this one, CK. Yeah, it looked like he was basically telling him we're voting for Shane, and
I don't know if he thought that through when he was making that threat about what he was saying. I honestly don't think he realized that Shane was with Joseph.
Yeah. CK, you have a habit of putting structure and forethought into Ethan's moves where there just isn't there. I don't think he was thinking about it.
He was just threatening Joseph.
Why? To vote with him. He wanted Joseph to vote with him.
But he didn't realize he was with Shane. Like, he hadn't thought that pairing through.
Because presumably the only person he could have wanted him to vote for, if it wasn't for Shane, would have been Jazz and Michelle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they have nothing with Jazz. Though they probably thought they had something with Jazz. I don't know. It's a bit of, it's the beauty of the Tired Destinies twist.
No, I hate it. So I think the main reason I hated it so much, obviously, I don't like the twist itself. I don't like the result. But we did one thing we all agreed on. We're having it when there is a legacy advantage and two idols in play.
Correct.
I don't love that. Because I'm trying to think of ways to improve it. How do we think?
South Africa.
Just hear me out.
Have you watched South Africa Survivor?
I have not watched it. Okay, but I know about the twist and I don't like it. When you vote for a single person. You don't vote for Ethan and Maddie. You vote for Ethan or Maddie. I think the idol should be the same. You have to play the idol on one person. If Maddie plays the idol on Ethan and your votes are on Maddie, too bad, you guys are gone.
The mistake, just look, I think that's not really. It's not really the twist, right? But I think, as we said, and you're right, it was to me. Well, particularly the legacy advantage, which can only be used here. So of course, it's getting used here. Like as soon, the legacy advantage should have been the tribal after this one. That would have been a simple save. Now Shane had another idol, so whatever, he just plays that. But you know, in terms of a planning sense, and look, Eli admitted this in the real time that yes, that the forethought here, because there was the possibility of everyone being immune.
Yeah, if someone else had Shane's idol or legacy advantage, then
if I had the legacy advantage here instead of Shane, I play that.
Yeah, you play the legacy advantage,
and Michelle gets
plays his idol. Shane plays his idol,
and Michelle gets the only eligible
player.
Yeah.
So I sort of like when Sari got Sari'd out. I enjoyed it.
No, hate it. I know Sari actually liked it. I don't like it.
I love that, but I'm watching that in the real time. To be honest, I don't really care about any of those players. Like, I'm not a Sari super fan, and Audrey's
You
alright.
wash your mouth out.
I don't really. Which part?
I was like,
Cerie super fan.
I'm not a Cerie super fan. I'm not.
I know. I'm just saying. You just
Jules is.
Okay,
massive.
I'm not. I don't really care for Ty. It's fine. I like Aubrey's probably the one I like the most there. I don't like Culpepper or Troyzan. And who was the other one that was there?
Lucina.
I like Sarah a bit, but I didn't love Sarah, so I'm like, I don't care who wins this. So like, it was really interesting as someone who wasn't invested in any of the.
For me, though, I don't like it when I think this is the reason I don't like this twist, and I don't like it, the Cerie thing. I don't like when someone goes out and there is literally nothing that they can do about it. Dani goes out without receiving a vote, and she couldn't do anything to stop it. You know, I think you shouldn't go out when you haven't received a vote. Rocks is different because you can do something about that. You can say, no, I'm not willing to go to Rocks. I will change the vote. But here, what could Dani have done to save herself? Once she got paired with Kristie, she was fucked.
I'm not denying it's bullshit. I'm just saying it's good TV.
Yeah.
I have a professional similar to, I don't think it gets aired, but like I vividly remember it. I think it's after I get voted out, similar to what Michelle just wrote. I was like, I hate this twist now. I hate it in South Africa. I hate it now. Like I was like, I fucking went on a rampage about how much I fucking hate that twist. Because it was always word for word. I was like, I hate it in South Africa and I fucking hate it now. And I had just watched South Africa before playing, so it was like fresh in my mind.
Michelle's reacting largely to my not a Cerie super fan. I'm just not.
Look, I've got Michelle and Merlene agreeing with me. I'm so happy.
There's nothing wrong with Cerie. Just to get right, she's a fantastic player. She's just not one of my faves.
She's on my Mount Rushmore.
My Mount Rushmore is the Mount Rushmore, like the consensus Mount Rushmore. But would you have Mount Rushmore favorite people? Or like
I don't know if it's meant to be your favorite or your best player. I don't know. She's the best player that's never won.
I agree.
Anyway, we've digressed. So, so after all the advantages are played, Kristie and Dani Kristie has 2 votes and they go out. All the other votes are nullified. And it's a sad day.
She wants to know who
Michelle wants to know who else is on my Mount Rushmore. You can DM me after if you want to know.
When we finish this whole pod, I'm going to do like the 50th episode because so I can do 50 will be a bit of a just general one, and we can all do our Mount Rushmores of the Australian LRGs.
Oh,
yeah, that'd be good. All right, we'll get back to that. Okay, so that's what happens there. It's a good twist. Look, I think we're all agreed it's a great twist. Now no, we
can all agree, but okay.
It's a sensible way of doing a double vote on a one-day game. And it makes good TV. It's shit for Dani. It's shit for Kristie. It's particularly shit for Dani because she hasn't won $1 million, $500,000 playing Australian Survivor. It's
and I was so nicely placed at Merge. I was so happy with how I was placed. I was just like, oh, look at, because like Kristie was pulling those boys over. I had my 4. I was just like, how nice is this? I am smack in the middle of this.
There's easy targets like Shane, Joseph.
Exactly. I could just like,
as
I was ready to just like finally like puppet master. Here we go.
Yeah.
This is what
and you had a couple of shields in front of you too. So if shit went wrong, you weren't going to be the target.
Correct. Exactly.
Luke was going to be looked at. Kristie was going to be looked at well before you.
Exactly.
Still think Dani's number 3 after those 2.
Yeah. That's where you want to be. In a group of 5, you want to be 3rd.
Yeah, I think you're in front of, as a threat, you're in front of Sam and Michelle.
Yeah.
Yes. And Michelle put me there on purpose. Like, I was the forefront of the 2 of us for a reason.
It was intentional. Yeah.
Well, so, anyway, the fantastic twist is we've moved on from that. And Dani.
Terrible twist. Anyway, we go on to episode 8.
We can yada this one a bit.
We go straight to a challenge. I have like 3 lines for this episode. There's not much here. We have red light, green light as the challenge.
Oh, except this was bullshit. Like whoever was judging this loves Luke and is just screwing over Maddie P as hard as they can. Maddie P is like a fucking statue and stopping, and they're calling him for the slightest thing. And Luke's basically like, just
continuing to run
down. And then when it's Luke's like 10 meters out, they just don't turn around. But when Maddie P was like that close, they're like switching as soon as they could.
Red light, green light, red light, green light. Yeah. No.
Justice for Maddie P.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
But we get Luke winning immunity. We get a new alliance of all the big boys coming together. We've got Luke, Sam, Ethan, and Maddie P. I think we talked about this in the we was really liking this move by that group, sort of having the bigger threats coming together.
I particularly liked it from Sam and Luke because they put themselves in the middle.
Yeah, they put themselves in a really good spot.
And I think they legitimately hadn't decided which way they were going to go, so both sides very much believed them.
This vote, it doesn't make a difference, but the next round in particular is where we really see them being torn. So they vote out.
I think me going frees Sam up to play.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sam in particular is the one doing this because he's, as he goes on about at fucking nauseum at Final Tribal Council, bringing Jazz into his missing piece of the puzzle. The missing piece of the puzzle, but in the way that means he's got Jazz and Michelle on one side and he's got the boys on the other.
Because I wouldn't have let that happen.
Yeah. He brings Jazz in on this vote because it's that 4 plus Jazz that vote out Joseph. We get Joseph, Michelle, and Shane are the ones that vote for Ethan.
Yes,
yeah, Michelle's out of something.
Not only does he bring Jazz in, but he uses this as the knife to repeatedly stab Michelle with at Final Tribal about how she voted wrong here. He didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it is quite weird. It's probably Sam's game-winning move here, actually. It's all the way back.
I agree.
There's nothing vote on Joseph, but it is actually the game-winning move.
It separates him from Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I really got for this episode. Nothing really groundbreaking happens. But we go into the next episode, and I think this is where things are a bit interesting. We get confessionals from Matt and Ethan talking about they're feeling really good about their position. They've got this solid 4 alliance that's going to take them right through. Michelle and Luke are having a discussion, though. Michelle's obviously a bit upset about being left out, but she handles it really, really well. You know, she's not doing the whole, she's not doing Liz, I'm pissed. She's chill. She's like, all right, look, you know, this is what happened. I do still want to work with you. And Luke's like, yeah, we still want to work with you. We're still with you. We just had to get Joseph out and we couldn't tell you for whatever reason.
Sam does a very good job as well of managing it.
And Michelle is like, well, you know, just Jazz is really close with Ethan. So just be careful of that. Jazz is not with you, even though Sam's like, yeah, right. Jazz.
Everyone's with me. I'm Sam. Yeah. Everyone's with me.
Yeah, everyone's with me. Absolutely.
Yeah. So first it's a conversation.
Shane, and Shane's gone next.
Yeah. Yeah. First it's just a conversation with Michelle and Luke, and then Sam comes over, and Sam just does his normal. If you've ever had a conversation with Sam, you know exactly how he smoothed it over. It's how he is. It's how he talks to people. He did a really good job here.
Sam Green.
I never met Sam in real life. I'd only seen him host Brisbane. And I still called him as the winner just based on watching him host Brisbane because I could see that in him just from that. That's why I called him as the winner when we started this. And I'm saying this so I can prop myself up as calling him as the winner before the season started.
He could have a conversation with you where he's telling you you're a shit human being and you're probably still wanting to hug afterwards because it's the way he talks to you. No
one should have been letting him get anywhere near that Final Tribal Council. And we'll talk about that later, Michelle, when we get to how you should have played your idol.
Anyway.
We talked about that at the real time anyway.
Yeah. So our challenge is, have you been paying attention? This is once again Eli inserting himself into things because there's questions about Eli in this.
To be fair, I like that that's the one most people don't really fucking know because they've been paying attention to him. So
there's things like, who got the second most votes here? Who got voted out 4th? Who did this? What was I wearing?
But then they were like, I don't know.
I wouldn't
know. That's the one most of them had no idea about.
No one got it right.
It was funny. Yeah, so it was a good little backfire.
He had his little, what's the green and red team? He had his little beanie on.
South.
I don't know, rugby. Yeah,
some people said beanie. Beanie was the answer. I think Michelle said
that's what he had on during that challenge, but it was what did he have on start?
What did he have on in the previous one?
I don't know, a different beanie.
Beanies did he bring? Yeah. A
lot of beanies. Not the, Christmas Freddy Krueger beanie. That's what I call that rugby team. I don't know. I don't know rugby. I know purple is the Storm.
The Rabbitohs.
I hope this isn't the team that Lee is obsessed with because she would not tolerate this.
No, she's West Tigers.
Yeah.
I know that one.
She's obsessed.
I know.
Frankly, I know.
She was wearing a Tigers jacket when she was there. She was.
Frankly, I'm not going to piss off a lot of people in the chat, but I don't know how any of you people can be this obsessed with rugby league. But anyway, let's
look.
Let's move on.
I'm a Melbourne girl, so I'm all about my AFL. My team made the finals. If anyone was paying attention, we scraped through. Anyway,
that was the definition of scraping through. You lost in the final.
Shut up! I've never barracked for Port Adelaide so much in my life. But anyway, so Jazz wins immunity, and we go straight into tribal. We don't go back to camp. We're straight to tribal, and it gets a little bit of a live tribal. There's talk about, are we going to vote for Shane? Are we going to vote for Maddie? Are we going to vote for Ethan? Shane wants to vote for Luke, and so much so that he does it twice. But he is the only one that votes for Luke. Everyone else votes for Shane. He plays the wrong advantage here, plays his extra vote instead of his idol.
Yep.
And yes, at the final 7, we get a 6-2 vote. But anyway. Look, I think that was always going to be a fairly straightforward one. Shane was on borrowed time from the minute the game started, so I think it's impressive that he made it this far anyway.
He was incredible at finding idols, and his general read of the situation, other than here, with his limited survivor knowledge, was actually quite astute.
Mm-hmm. And he always picks like the big threats. Like he gets to Luke here because he knows he can't beat him. He came for Kristie because she's so threatening. He read the threats well. He just didn't put himself in a position to do anything about it.
He didn't understand, like a lot of people that actually even watch the show, that the game is fundamentally social, and he put no effort into building social connections.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter that he clocked what the threats were. No one were interested in working with him. As everyone said,
to do anything about it.
It was a closed book. You didn't know if you could trust him. No one knew if they could trust him. It was a wild card.
100%.
Yeah. Then we go straight into our next challenge where we're eating a cheesy mite scroll on a string, and then the first 3 to finish that get to do a puzzle, another children's puzzle. So we get Luke, Ethan, and Michelle moving on. The boys are eating their cheesy mite scrolls off the ground. Michelle's the only one who's still got it on their string at the end, so she gets bonus points for that.
This is a real child's event, this one here. This is a real child's party.
Yeah. And then we get, a kitty puzzle. And Michelle even says after she wins that some of the pieces were already in the right spot, so she didn't have to do too much to win that puzzle.
Wow, sounds a bit rigged.
Yeah. But no, it's because they had it, I think they dumped it out and her stayed together or something like that. I don't know. It's
like when you break a Lego for a kid to build again, but half the Lego is still built.
Yeah.
Add the bits to it.
No, when I take my Legos apart, I make sure each individual piece is separate before I start again. Anyway. So we've got Ethan thinking that Michelle wins. Ethan thinks that the 4 boys are going to stay together to vote out Jazz, and he's all in on this. He thinks this is the plan. He's like, Michelle won, that's not ideal, but we've still got Jazz. So if Michelle wins again next time, then we're in trouble. Meanwhile, Luke and Sam are stuck between, they've got their 4 boys and they've got the 3 blues plus Jazz. They're in the middle. They don't know which way to go, and I think they're genuinely not sure. I'm a teacher, though, but not separating pieces was a rookie mistake. Yeah.
Who does a puzzle and doesn't separate the pieces? But, I guess you're under stress. You don't think about it. You see in the real Survivor, they don't sort them properly. You got to sort it. But you do sometimes think they spend too much time sorting and you just lose as a result. I'm already getting judged in the chat for being an Ethan truther, but and he believes that he's going to the end. And you know what? He has some grounds for that because people don't like him. He's a bit into himself, and he's bumbled it up a bit few times. It's not unrealistic for him to think he has a chance of being brought to the end.
No. But the way he's talking in his confessional is very matter of fact that, Jazz is going to go here then.
Jazz is threatening.
No, but he doesn't. Yeah, he's all in on that alliance, and he thinks that's a Final 4 deal. That's a done deal. That's happening.
If I was in his shoes, I would probably believe them too. It seems to make sense for Luke and Sam to take me and Matt if I'm Ethan.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't be letting Maddie's P's another one. I wouldn't be getting anywhere near final trouble.
But that's what's happening here. They're not worried about Ethan. They're worried about Maddie P, and they should be. And that's where they're at. They're not worried about Ethan at all.
Yeah. No. So at Tribal, Michelle finds an idol at the voting booth, which
He
so she
comes
wins
this
immunity.
close. Like he's second after her, right? He looks in the exact same place.
Yeah.
How was it determined? I don't like this idol was obvious, right? Wasn't it? Was it in the pot?
It was in the under the thing. She was the second person to go up to the voting booth, though. She wasn't the first.
Off the lid.
No. So they had there was on the table, there was like a little drum there that was just kind of decorative, and she had to lift it. It was underneath it.
Were you guys lifting this drum like every bloody time?
No, I think it was. I don't think it was there every time.
Okay, so a new drum has just appeared on the voting table.
She wasn't the first person to go, and she found it. So
it's in the order of who's going up.
Oh, it wasn't hidden well. I could see it.
It was just sitting there. Okay, but I don't mind it. But how was the order determined? Eli
where you sat in the thing.
Always?
Always. If you were sat at that's why Luke always sat first, because he always wanted to be the first to the booth to find those clues. It was in the order you were sat in every time.
Did Luke miss it this time?
Must have.
Mm. So Ethan.
I don't have any who went first, but Michelle was second.
Yeah, Ethan is third and looks in the same place.
A few of them look there.
I would also look there if there was a conspicuous new drum just sitting on the fucking table.
I think it changed. There was always something new there, so I don't think it was suddenly there's something new. It was there was something different each time.
Are you sure about that?
Making that up, but it may
have used the same eggs 50 fucking times. You telling me they had a new prop on the voting desk every episode? Surely not. Can anyone back Dani up in the chat on this?
But again, I also only I voted 3 times the whole time, so I could be,
Yeah.
We'll see what.
But yes, we get the downfall of our beloved Matty P, voted out 4-2, and with him and Ethan voting for Jazz.
Hey, Joseph did. I'm pretty sure it was the same the whole time. Hey, Joseph. I don't know how long you've been lurking in the chat.
Proving Dani wrong.
Yeah. Look, I don't.
Michelle says
years ago, and I went 3 times.
I don't know. It was just there all of a sudden. So she thinks it wasn't there. Joseph thinks it was the same thing. I have to ask Eli about that. I imagine it was just the same thing. Okay, here we go.
The first 2 votes of the day, there was nothing there, but then they added the drum and something else. Pretty sure that stayed the same after that.
I think what's happened is when they've stuck the thing, and they've stuck it under it, it just hasn't fit that well, and maybe it's a little bit uneven or something. Perhaps it just didn't fit under it, so it was obvious. It was dark. Yeah. It was dark as well, obviously. So you had to be paying attention. Should we be giving out idols at the final 6?
When an idol's walked out the door the round before, but no.
Should it be at camp?
It should be in a better hiding spot, yes.
It's probably to make people break off and look for it.
Probably impossible to find in the dark.
But they weren't aware that an idol had just left the game.
Correct.
This is true.
If an idol had just been played, I think it probably maybe I'm giving people a bit too much credit, but I think it would have been hidden a bit better, because if an idol's been played, I'm tearing that camp apart looking for it.
Oh, the people left there would have fucking hunted it down if they knew there was no.
What Michelle should have found was a clue.
Yes.
To a idol hidden at camp, because it's pretty hard to go wandering off looking for idols.
That's true. They didn't.
I'm saying we rarely went back to camp after final 8. So
okay, it should have been a clue about it being hidden under Eli's table or something. So you just had to walk up and fucking do it.
Podium idol.
Yeah, something like that. That would have been better. Better TV too.
Yeah, agreed. And that takes us into the finale episode. Our first challenge is Survivor Trivia. I am appalled at how badly these people did at that challenge.
Is this fair?
I would have got every single question right.
We so would have I, but is this fair?
Is Survivor fair?
And look, they did do this in Backyard season 3. I liked obviously you couldn't do this in Sydney, but I liked what they did in Backyard Yards Apart, where it was a quiz on Backyard season 1. It's a great way for Kyle and Brian to get 15 or 16 people to watch their first season. But equally, they were told to watch that before the season. So everyone had the same information. Everyone did it but one person. That one person was disadvantaged. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
I didn't mind when they did this in Backyard Exile, but that was like Final 7. What is this? Final 5?
Final 5.
Just seems like I would have switched this with the Have You Paying Attention.
Yeah, I think Have You Been Paying Attention is better for a later challenge anyway.
Yeah, it's fairer. Everyone's got that information.
That should be Final 5, Final 4.
The Survivor trivia earlier on, because it's an Amazing Race thing. How, the last Amazing Race challenge is always, what do you remember from the race? So maybe if you switch him, it probably.
And the Have You Been Paying Attention? I like that as a fire making challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know a lot of orgs have that for their fire making challenge if it goes to a tie at Final 4. Because I doubt Eli was having anyone make fire.
Most orgs that I've done, the challenges are basically a hodgepodge of all the challenges you did before, which is like old school Survivor.
Okay. But anyway, so Luke wins immunity with his, handful of questions that he got right.
I like the Ian Dixon question, though.
Sorry?
I like the Ian Dixon. That's a real, Survivor, nugget.
Yeah.
A lot of people would need to get that.
Ethan would have been way too young to be able to get that one right.
I watched that season.
So did I.
In real time. Actually, wasn't half bad. The dickhead senator from the family from One Nation was actually reasonably entertaining, despite his background. David something or other.
I don't remember it that well.
Who won the season? She was the chick from Home and Away, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't tell me you would have got every question right. Is if you would have got the returnee Australian survivors off the top of your head correct.
Oh, it would have depended how long I had, but if I had enough time to sit there and think about it, yeah.
I think you had 10 seconds.
Okay.
I guessed 25.
Well, hang on. They said Heroes versus Villains hadn't been released yet. So you only had to do All Stars. So you had 24 people plus Luke.
Plus
Blood versus Water. So I think there was only 4 from that. So there's only 3 from that. So there you go. There's 29. 28.
It's 28, which is what Ethan guessed randomly.
Yeah. So yeah, I would have got it.
He might have been able to do it. That was impressive. I'm impressed with that. That was strong.
Thank you. My nerd card is just rising.
I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, Ethan is the very obvious target. He is pitching to anyone who'll listen to him about why he should stay, how he's not a threat. He hasn't won a challenge. He's pissed everyone off. He's made dumb moves. He's saying to Sam, he's telling Jazz, I'm going to vote for Sam. That's the pitch I can make. And then he goes to Sam and says, oh, Jazz is saying your name. And Sam's not buying it. He's just like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
To be fair, I don't think Ethan was aware of Sam and Jazz's connection.
I don't think anyone was aware of Sam and Jazz.
Everyone was aware of that
point.
I do think that Sam is the most sensible target for Ethan to be coming for.
Yes.
Yeah, with Luca Moon, yes.
Yeah. So I think Ethan's doing everything he can here. That he probably shouldn't be wasting his time on Sam.
No. I think if Luke hadn't won, he might have had a fighting chance.
Yeah, I think Luke probably goes. We'll have to get Michelle's view on that from the chat, whether she would team up with Ethan and Jazz to vote out.
Would Jazz have been willing to do it without Sam? Maybe.
Sam might give his implicit blessing to it. Perfect for him. He can vote out Luke without writing his name.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, Michelle plays the idol. It's, she's only really got that chance to play it. Why not? And
she's like, no, she wouldn't do it.
No.
We talked about this ad nauseum. Is this the last chance to play the idol? Yes.
Yes.
You should have saved Ethan with it and voted out Sam.
She would never have teamed up with Jazz or Ethan.
Ethan was too the whole day. Michelle and I would even before we were just like, Ethan is not our type of player. He was just way too chaotic for us. That I wouldn't have played with him either at that point.
But you don't need to worry about that at this point. You can save him with the idol again. The only reason he's in the game now is because you played an idol on him, and you take out the big threat in Sam, and all you need to do is beat Luke at the final challenge, and Michelle's probably winning the game.
Oh, I understand it now from that perspective, but in that moment, there's no fucking way.
She's got
Michelle's working
30
with
seconds to decide what to do.
There's no way.
And after a full day of playing, your paranoia is sky high. For all she knows, there's votes coming her way.
Yeah, and she sees safety with Sam.
I don't think for a second Michelle thought votes were coming her way.
You never know.
I get that, but I think you know enough to know. I think that Michelle, and I'm putting thoughts in my own head about what Michelle had done, might have considered it more, and she can tell us here, if it had been Sam that was immune and can I idle out Luke?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, that would have been a move.
There's also,
that's a different story. That's a different story there.
Yeah, well, I played it anyway. I didn't think votes were coming my way. She talked about it at Final Tribal that she found an idol and played it even though she knew she didn't need to.
Yeah, we've just talked about this at length in this show. It's not a thing to do. If you're that sure that you don't need the protection, just do the Marianne and break it out at the Final Tribal. It's got more impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a risk. It's a huge risk because what if you were getting fooled? But
also, I mean, we'll get to it when we talk about Final Tribal. Sam went first, and his whole opening statement was about, "I'm here without any advantages, without any challenge wins." And so if Michelle had been like, "Oh, yeah, I've also got an idol that I didn't play," like,
no, it's better because it's like I had an idol, and he can say he didn't have one, but you know, I was so confident.
I had one and didn't need to play it.
That's how confident I was. That's how much control I had on the game. That's what Marianne did.
Yeah.
It's more convincing than when you play it. Oh, I didn't think I was getting the votes, but you know, like you know, yeah, I get it. Like I'd probably do it too. It's very hard to like not play it in a situation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It just goes like it's like a womp womp, and no one cares. Like you made the idols meaningless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think you shouldn't play it on Ethan.
Anyway. Yeah, we got Ethan voted out 4-1 over Sam. And then we go straight into our final immunity challenge where we've got like a little memory challenge with colored eggs. I don't mind this for a challenge. I think this is sort of going into the territory of what Backyard does well. Where Backyard does their challenges really well is they take challenges that you would see on normal Survivor and just make it with, you know, your milk crates and your at-home things. A straight-up memory challenge, repeat back the pattern that you've given me. I like that for a challenge.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too. I don't love it for a Final Tribal.
I don't like it for a final immunity challenge, but it's
options are limited. It's very dark. You know, what do you know?
Yeah,
it's fun.
So we get Michelle wins final immunity, and Luke basically knows he's done. He approaches Sam and is pretty much saying, "Look, I know you're going to vote for me. I won't vote for you, but
it's too fucking nice." Guilt Sam into going to fucking fire. Like, come on, give it a go. Don't give Sam permission to vote you the fuck out.
He's just a nice guy. He openly says to everyone that he's gonna vote for Jazz.
He should have guilted Sam into fucking vote. Like, don't go to Sam and give him permission. He actually gives him permission.
He basically says, "Hey, mate, you vote for me. It's fine."
It still didn't stop Sam from feeling guilty. Like, if I remember sitting in that Final Tribal, and I was so sure that was not like Jazz was going at that point because I was so convinced of my three that were left.
Yeah.
And then Leah said something, and I looked at Sam, and he was visibly upset, tears in his eyes. He still did not want to do that. He knew he had to, but even with permission, he was not happy about it.
Yeah.
So that means that if Luke had tried a bit more of a hard sell, come on, mate, it's been you and me all day. Send me to fire, please. Then Sam would have had even a harder time with it, and he might have done it. Maybe.
I still think he makes that call. I still think he votes because I think he thinks if Luke wins fire, and we've had this conversation too, if Luke wins fire and he's in the final three, Luke wins.
Sure, but I'm just saying, you know, just fucking like, Luke, don't give up and lie down and fall on your sword, mate. Like,
yeah.
Look,
no, I agree with you. I still think that vote goes the way it goes, just with even more tears.
I never stop fighting. So
no.
I'm not saying,
I don't think I would ever tell anyone it's okay to vote for me.
Yeah.
Never.
Ever.
The only time I would ever say you can vote for me is when I'm the target and we're worried because we think someone's got an idol and we're trying to vote for the person with the idol, and you know, otherwise I'm going anyway. I'll be saying, well, you know what, look, I'll take the punt, they don't play the idol. You know, but I'm getting the votes anyway if we don't do it. Yeah. So like that'd be the only time I'd tell someone you can vote for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've done it where I've had like I knew I was going, and there was, me and one other person, and I've said, you can vote for me, it's fine.
Yeah. Or if you're playing an idol, you're going to play an idol. You're like,
yeah.
Do what you want.
Do it.
Or I've done that in orgs. I've had allies and say, you can vote for me, whatever. I'm playing the idol this one. Like final 6, I'm playing this idol. So, and they did vote for me. Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, we digress. So we get the Luke vote out, and so our final 3 are Sam, Jazz, and Michelle. So we go into final tribal. We get a little montage of everyone, their game, the jury, what they're thinking, blah blah blah. Who cares?
Well, interesting from Michelle's point of view. Maybe this goes back to the idol. If she could have made a part on Ethan. If she knew Sam was the Brisbane Survivor host, she doesn't think she would have gone to the end with him. Very interesting.
Interesting that he didn't tell anyone that.
Well, I think he's very smart.
Exactly. No, he wouldn't tell anyone that. But yeah, we get to final tribal. The jury is only allowed to ask one question to one person in the final 3. Few people push that.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it when you got the whole cast on the jury and it's
like the whole cast. Absolutely.
Don't mind it. I actually don't like the whole cast on the jury thing at all.
I hate it.
No.
If you're doing it, then I think
pre-merge people. But I think if they know about it in advance, they can discuss amongst themselves. Hey,
yeah. And they did. They did do that.
And they did, yeah.
And like, who's going to ask a question to who? And like, Malene's like, I'd like to ask a question to Jazz. Yeah. And they're like, okay, good. So Malene can just pump Jazz up, obviously. Like this, obviously. That's not going to be a hard hitting. That's going to be an absolute Dorothy Dixer right there.
Well, that was the thing before going into that. Like, most of the Red who were there didn't know anything about Sam and Michelle's game. Like, so I was like backstage trying to like tell them about all the things they'd done and all the conversations we had in their strategy and how great they'd been as strategists and allies. Because they never played with Jazz or seen Jazz's game. They had no idea about anything to do with Sam and Michelle because they hadn't played with them.
But presumably you've been talking about that all afternoon, like you've been there for a while.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. But in that point, that was when they're like, oh, like, what do we? I was like, I actually remember being like, oh, trying to give them like as much information as possible, or like give them like questions to ask the other 2 rather than Jazz.
Yeah.
To like get more information out of them.
It's very difficult to change the minds of people, even though they know you've got more information. They don't particularly care.
Absolutely.
Also, for the pre-merge people, there has to be an element of, if I got back in, I would have gone to the end and I would have won. So they then want to vote for the person that came back in.
I talked about this when we did the first coverage. I feel like Michelle deserved to be second. No offense to Jazz, but I think that's that element of the edge people voting for the returning.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it when we get to the votes, but the votes for Jazz are all people that went pre-merge.
Yeah. That said,
with the exception of Lizzie, they're all original Reds.
There's always a risk in bringing the returning, and people should have been more cognizant of that.
Yeah. But anyway, so we get to our final tribal. Sam goes first. And yeah, as I said, he talks about he got there without challenge wins, without advantages. His big move was voting out Luke. He's played the whole game with Michelle, but they played different games. And then we talked about Jazz was the missing piece for him, and they formed a genuine connection there. That's sort of the basis of his opening. Jazz talks a little.
I'd say I said before that it's not particularly great trouble. I think he's tired. I don't think he sells any of these points particularly well. He just says them over and over. But I think they are all remarkably valid. He completely depowers Jazz by making her his piece and completely removes any agency that she might have had in that relationship, and she doesn't do much to salvage it back.
Which is a good read that maybe the jury is going to vote for her.
Mm-hmm. And she made it this far because I connected with her. I brought her into my people. And she sort of backs it up a bit. She doesn't take carriage of that. And with Michelle, he admits they have the same game, but she didn't. I left her out of that vote ages ago, and that's why I'm better.
Yeah. Jazz talks about a bit about the pre-merge and the battle back. How she bonded with Sam during the bag over the head challenge. That's as far back as their connection goes, and then obviously worked with him after. And then she had bonds with Ethan and Matt from the pre-merge, so she had to put herself first, and that's why she was willing to vote them out. She talks a bit about it more during her question. She's talking about how she always had the right information. Everyone was wanting to work with her, which is a good point from her.
Yeah, absolutely.
She had both sides. She knew what was happening.
Yes.
I think she was generally a swing option.
Yes. And then Michelle talks about she thought she'd be first boot because of who she is, how in org she's always a first boot. She really had to rely on her social game. She had strong relationships. She particularly mentions Dani, Kristie, Sam, but talks about she had good bond with everyone. She won a couple of challenges. She found an idol even though she didn't need it. So I think her pitch is trying to say she had a pretty well-rounded game. I agree.
I think starting about this first boot, like when for her it was such a big part about who she was and that it was going to be a challenge for her. But the fact that no one knew who she was means that challenge is sort of meaningless. And when you start your speech with that, people are like, who are you? Like, oh, you run a Facebook thing? You do some orgs? Like, why am I threatened by this? Like, and you've already got people now thinking about that as opposed to whatever you're starting now to talk about. Yeah. So I know it was very much her truth and her story. It's just not how I would assume anyone else was perceiving her. She's threatening for other reasons. She played a great game, but that didn't really enter into anyone's.
The only person that could have really got away with saying something like that is Kristie.
Correct. And when you got someone like Kristie there, no one cares. Like you run even then, I didn't know. Yeah. People didn't know. But even if I did know, like why would I be bothered if she runs a Facebook group?
Yeah.
Like are there other people?
Knowledge, the super fan status of that, like just the.
There are a lot of people who would know who she was and be threatened by that.
I think what she did to after the pub, everyone's like, "Wait, who are you?" I think she perhaps should have reconsidered it once she saw Kristie was there, because even if people knew her and were thinking about that, once Kristie's there, that's just it just doesn't matter.
Yeah,
exactly.
People
tell me they feel threatened by me.
Yeah. Who feels threatened? I met you. You're lovely. I wasn't threatened.
No, I've never threatened by you.
Yeah, that's it. We're fairly large personalities. I think you might need to rephrase that with people that don't have large personalities.
We're collaborative.
Yeah. So we get into our questions. We go
in game. She says.
Oh yeah, I can see that, especially in all.
Yeah, I could see that in the game. I think I'd be a bit wary of Michelle in a game. Yeah.
So we go in reverse order of the vote out. So Luke goes first. He says, Sam, who would you vote for out of the other two? And I think Sam, again, we go into him reading that Jazz is potentially going to get more jury votes than Michelle. And he leans into it again and says he would have voted for Michelle because we made a lot of the same moves together. I understand her game. I think if you're asked that question, you say the person that you don't think is going to get votes. That's always the correct answer to that question.
Is that what he says?
Yeah, he says Michelle is who we would.
Whose question was that?
That was Luke's question.
Oh, yeah.
Ethan asked Michelle, where do you think you were in the hierarchy? She says early on she was near the top, but never number one because that was intentional because she didn't want to be targeted. I think, again, that's a good answer.
Yep.
Maddie wants to know from Michelle, what was your biggest move? She gives a bad answer here. She says, no moves made by myself. We made them all as a group. We didn't really blindside anyone. We just had an order and we went down the line. That's not a great answer. It's not at Final Tribal. You don't want to be saying we. It's all about me. Me.
Whose question was that? Matt's?
That was Maddie's question.
Yeah, you just say Matt.
Yeah.
Matt. Just tell the jury what they want to hear. He still votes for her though, but that was the answer.
I think that was him trying to get her to be like, give me something. I want to vote for you. He's trying to help her. Shane asked Jazz, what was your game plan? Not great, but I can't lie because I would be caught out. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Because you did always vote for Sam on that one time he duped you.
Yeah. So Shane asked Jazz, what was your game plan after coming back in? She said, look, I didn't expect to come back in. At first, she just sat back and watched and then aligned with the big dogs in Sam and Luke. That's an okay answer. It's kind of a nothing. I don't think it scores or any points or loses or any points.
It's backing up Sam's story too much.
It does, yeah.
But it's just giving too much credence.
Yeah, it's not.
Everything Sam said.
Joseph asked Sam, what was a mistake that you made and what do you think mistakes that the other two made? And he opens it by saying, yeah, I made mistakes. And I think that's important to show a bit of humility there. Yeah, I made mistakes, but they were always fixed by the next vote. He said the biggest mistake he made was being really paranoid. He said that Dani, you had to calm him down a couple of times.
Did you have to calm him down, Dani?
Yeah, a lot.
They don't show any of that in the winners edit.
Don't show any of that.
No. And that's why I wasn't afraid to go to final travel with Sam, because I was like, baby, I held your hand. I held your hand this whole game. Like, I pulled you through. Come on now.
Yeah. And then for the other mistakes, Jazz was voted out. That was a mistake she made. And Michelle needed to not be as connected to him and Luke, needed to kind of separate herself a little bit. So I think he's basically just confirming what the jury is already thinking. Anyone that's already wanting to vote for him, that's their reasoning for not wanting to vote for the other two. So again, I think he does well here. Kristie talks about how...
Here comes Kristie's layup for Sam. Sam, I was going to lift the ball up.
Well, when I won, I voted correctly every single time. Tell me, Sam, how many times did you vote incorrectly? And the only time was at the merge vote. He did not vote for Kristie or Dani. Every other time. And he's like, I don't really remember. Go down the line. He's like, yeah, I voted for you. I wasn't at your tribal. I did vote for you. I voted for everyone.
That was impressive.
Yeah, but it was like Kristie's like, here's the layup for you, Sam.
I won. This is what I did. Tell me what you did.
Very good.
And Kristie knows that Sam has voted for all those people. It's not like she knows the answer. That's why he saw when he ums and ahs about it. She's like, well, just go down the line.
Yeah, go on.
Go right out.
Dani, we get your question of Michelle. If you had a different final three, who would it be and why? What were you hoping for her to say?
She says, not you.
She goes, not you, because it would have been too much of a fight. I would have probably cut you at 4 and you would have cut me.
I wouldn't have.
Were you happy with that answer? Do you vote for Sam? You vote for Sam?
It didn't cost her. Like I say it in the, like I had a really hard time with that vote. I was in that for a while.
But that pushed you over the line.
No, it didn't.
But her answer was Ethan, because he kind of rubbed people the wrong way, and if Lizzie had got back in, probably her, because she didn't have a really good social game.
Don't like this answer, because why the fuck you bring up Lizzie? That's come out of nowhere. And if you thought Ethan should have been there, you should have played the fucking idol on him.
Yeah. Leah asked, I think, a really good question. Sam, separate your game from Michelle. And he said, look, our game was intertwined, but it wasn't the same. Everyone was coming to me for my opinion, but not Michelle.
I have no idea why I said that. Like, why would I? What?
Yeah, no. But yeah, he basically says that the difference is that people were coming to him so that wasn't, and again, that's kind of a humble brag. I was like, I didn't really do anything, but everyone just wanted to talk to me. I was just so popular. Everyone loves me. So yeah. Malene is again trying to give Jazz a bit of a layup. Tell us the thing pre-merge and post-merge that you're most proud of. Pre-merge says switching the vote onto Lizzie instead of Kristie at that vote. Again, we didn't see that, but yeah. It's because they were going to use Kristie to vote out one of the boys next.
Yeah.
To me, is that kind of throwing away Ethan and Maddie's votes? Maybe, but you know. And then post-merge, she says she aligned with the right people and she always knew where the votes were going. Which
pretty sure everyone knew where the votes were going post-merge. It's actually like it's a good post-merge, but it's pretty predictable in the end.
Yeah. Lizzie asked Sam, how did you manage to stay so under the radar? And he basically has the Ella Gabler answer there. He's like, well, I'd poke my head up and then I'd pop it back down. And I'd just sort of come back up and then I'd hide again. And it's not a great answer until he sort of revisits it again with TK's question.
It only works for Gabler because he's got the Ella Gabler an allergy, which is like really funny. And
Ella Greenler.
He's like pop my head up and then like gonna. That's why it works for Gabler because it's like it's a fun little like you'll remember that. Everyone still remembers that. Like,
but hey, this was pre Ella Gabler, so we'll give him some credit there. He didn't copy it.
I also think that Gabler was the correct winner of that season. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to get into that with you because I might have to come out later and slap you. Wow. Anyway,
I don't think he's the right wing nutter, but he deserved to win this season.
No, he did not. He did not. Anyway, TK says, Sam, you had my vote and then you lost it at final 6 when you said, I hadn't really been thinking about my end game. And so TK goes, no, tell me about your end game. Why was it better? And Sam gives a really good answer here. He says, that was one of the things I was trying to keep my head down. I was pretending that I hadn't really come up with my end game, but I had. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah. And he specifically says the next 3 votes here. I knew Matt and Ethan had to go, and I knew I was going to have to cut Luke at 4.
What was this fucking question from TK? Was this a layup for Sam? Because who does TK really expect Sam at the final 6 to be going, yeah, I've got it all planned out. I'm going to go get this person.
Yeah.
Like, what is he? Of course, Sam is being like dodging the question at final 6 tribal council about what his plans are.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like a layup with this, like, you lost my vote. Earn it back. Like
you don't genuinely give an answer at tribal council. You do as best you can to vaguely say something that sounds like it might be the answer to the question.
And that's the answer Sam gives, and that's what everyone does.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. Did TK vote for him in the end? Does he get the vote back?
Yes.
Yeah. So did he ever lose the vote? Was this a layup, or like a really like disguised layup? Where you lost my vote.
You lost my vote. Fake.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Is this TK just wanting a more memorable moment?
Of course. Yeah, TK wants to be a memorable player. Like, he had big plans for this. It wasn't the way he wanted it to go. So that was his moment.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda's question is, Sam, why didn't you vote out Kristie? And Sam says, well, he was always planning to vote her out as soon as he could. He saw her as number 5 in that alliance.
She was number 5 in that alliance.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he's saying like if she didn't go when she did, he would have cut her well before. Anyway, she got anywhere near the final tribal. So, and then finally, JT asks Michelle. He talks and talks and talks and talks and talks, and eventually just asks why he was the first boot. And she's like, I didn't want you to go, but I couldn't change it. The votes were going your way. Even if I'd picked you up and someone else, we didn't have the numbers.
To be fair, from that first episode, it did seem like she was the least interested in voting him out.
I think she wanted to vote Lizzie.
Yeah.
She did. No, so she didn't want to vote either of them at that point. She liked them both, and she was concerned because she'd played with JT and Orgs, and he was quite often an early boot, and she didn't want that to be his experience this time.
Yeah.
So her response seemed genuine. Then.
Yeah. It was completely genuine. She did not want him to be the first boot, but the numbers just didn't fall for Michelle.
Yeah.
So who did she want the first boot to be?
Who doesn't tell him why he was voted?
I don't know at that point in time because, like, at first she didn't want either of them, but I think when the vote became between JT and I,
the end of the day, JT's not watching this, I'm sure. But the reason you voted JT is because your name got up and you hadn't built enough of anything with anyone.
You don't need much of a reason to be the first boot. Your name comes up and, hey, that's not my name. Cool, I'll vote that way.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So,
no one knows anyone.
Yeah.
You just need someone to stick up for you. And Michelle, I think the problem is, well, then what's Michelle doing? Like, the options are Lizzie, she doesn't want to vote out, or J.T. or Dani. Like, she doesn't want to vote out any of these people. So
lesser of the names that came up.
I don't think Michelle didn't have an alternate target to say, well, I don't want JT, then how about she didn't want to vote out anyone.
You can't just say no, you need to give an alternate name.
Yeah.
So we see a few of the votes going in. Before the votes are read, we've seen enough for it we know it's at least 2-2-2. It ends up being Sam winning 6 votes with 4 votes for Jazz and 3 votes for Michelle. Michelle is saying, I can see now how I should have played it, but at the time, well, I'm not really sure why I said what I said. I wanted Lizzie out.
She's saying she would have played. Should have played the idol, I think she's saying, on Ethan, but she's really not sure why she said she wanted Ethan.
Yeah. So the votes for Michelle.
She wanted Lizzie out in the first vote. There you go.
Yeah, the votes for Michelle, not surprising. Maddie, JT, and Joseph. I think she picked up JT's vote by saying she didn't want him to be the first boot. That was probably all he needed to hear.
If I was in that tribe, I think
Maddie was always going to vote for her, and probably Joseph was too.
If I was in that tribe, I think I'd struggle to vote out Lizzie over JT. I think I'd jump on the JT bandwagon.
I'd vote for just anyone that wasn't me. I'd be going along with it. Our votes for Jazz are Lizzie, Merlene, Amanda, and Leah. So, yeah, all pre-merge, 3 of them from Original Red, and then Lizzie. And then everyone else is for Sam. So that's Kristie, Luke, TK, Dani, Shane, and Ethan. Some of them I had to work out by deduction because we couldn't actually see the votes. And some people were very like, oh, I'm voting for you. Congratulations. I didn't say a name. I believe in the real time, Dani, I had to message you and be like, who did you vote for? Because I did not know. I had the same thing for TK. I didn't know who he'd voted for either.
Yeah, I didn't think I said the name. I didn't say the name.
You didn't say the name, no.
The reveal was done very well by Eli. The 3.
Oh, yeah, we did the 3 votes for this person, then 3 votes, yeah.
Then a 1, then a 1, and then a 1, and then it's done. I remember in the real time being like, oh, this is spicy.
Close.
Like, this is close because you just thought Sam was going to win it. So Sam had the strongest edit of the 3 as well, but so it probably felt like his win. But the split of the votes. But this is a regular occurrence in these full cast final tribals, which I'm just not really a fan of, to be honest.
Yeah, I do. I like that we didn't have a 0 vote finalist. I don't think any of them deserved that. I'm glad they all got votes and they all got a good amount of votes,
And had it be a post merge jury, then Jazz gets 0 votes.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah, it's more like a 5-2 or something, isn't
it? JT's 1 vote for Michelle.
It's he gets.
She gets 1 less vote for Sam.
4-3, 4-2,
5-2.
5-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Michelle comes second, which is what she deserved.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think a 5-2-0. I think a 5-2-0 is actually a fairer outcome. It reflects the games that were played. No offense to Jazz.
No, I agree. I completely agree with you.
Look, as I always say, the decision of the jury, that's the correct decision that was made. But all I can say is that if I was on that jury, yes, I probably would have.
But the point is, I'm not making that the jury didn't make their own right decisions. I'm saying that 6 of them should vote.
They were biased because
I'm
just 3 of Jazz's votes had not met.
Yeah,
Sam,
I'm a strong believer that it should be only the post merge that is the jury. I get that. I get they want in these LRGs everyone to stick around, have the experience and whatnot. But to me,
that's why you give them the battle back.
Yeah, and to me, when I played, and I'm sure this is the case for a lot of people, making merge is somewhat the objective, and it's because then you make the jury. And it's shit for the people that don't, but that's what makes it special.
Yeah,
it's kind of like when the mum lets the kids all the kids blow out the birthday candles. Like it kind of makes it less special for the kid whose birthday it is.
Yeah.
Like I made the jury. I got here, so it's less special if everyone's on the jury.
Correct. That's how I feel.
Agreed.
We're all just savages here, but we can't do his feelings and their experiences.
Yeah.
Look, it was a discussion that was had coming when we were planning for season 2. Like, the question was like, do we do that again? I was like, absolutely fucking not. I was just like, especially because it's a 2-day game. No. No.
Yeah.
I say people want to stay, they can still camp, they can still do things. That's fine. But the gate jury is merge on. No one else.
Because you don't want to have that situation where someone is having to cast a jury vote when they only know one person there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not fair.
Yeah.
And as I say, I think we all agree it makes it more special. Yes. And then famously, you all went to the pub. How did any of you feel like going to the pub after a day like this?
I didn't. My husband and kids were waiting to pick me up at that point in time, so I didn't go back to the pub.
What time was that? What time did this game finish?
Probably like 10:30.
It's pretty good for a one day. That's very well organized, to be honest.
And we started at like 6:30. So was it?
It seems like they ran a very tight ship for a first season, which is very impressive. To not let it blow out.
I don't remember seeing any kinks or anything in the running of it when it was happening.
Yeah. Well, I think if you look at the people who were on the crew, that definitely helped. I was there for the crew of season 2 and saw how well run it was. So that's a testament to people that were there.
He was surrounded by a very good team of people who had LRG experience to help him get that off the ground.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about the community. You have these people coming out that have these experiences.
A lot of familiar faces that have been there that wasn't their first rodeo.
And they don't know necessarily Eli that well, but they were happy to come out and help, which is a really fantastic part of the community, amongst everything else. Just like everyone that has watched this live for almost 3 hours. I know most of you are in the cast, so I also would tune in for 3 hours to listen to people talk about me, so I understand why you're here.
When Melbourne Tour starts, I'll be tuning in every episode.
So it's a little bit self-serving, but we do appreciate you being here. We also appreciate everyone that will be listening to this or watching it after the fact. We know there's lots of you that do that. I appreciate not everyone can tune in live when we do broadcast. So thank you to all of those people. Thank you to Jules for joining. I actually think this worked well. For the future, you've got to take the notes and run through it.
No, I like it when you do it.
I
don't like to be the organized one.
Yeah, but I just talk
Ask Dani about how I fly.
Look, you can put it to a poll, but I feel like when I do the run through and then I have to give all my little special comments that I just talk too much. And this was a better.
But now I talk too much.
I don't know. I thought this was a better balance. What do you think, Dani?
Don't do that to her.
It's an easy answer. It's a layup because I'm saying.
I do think it was a more well-rounded conversation. It wasn't so much as CK telling us what he thinks.
Correct, and that's better. That's what I think.
I'll kick you off, and it'll be the Jules podcast now.
So you can do the notes, and I add the special color. That's good. More balanced diversity of voices on the program. So thank you for that, and thank you, Dani, for joining us. Do you have any final special comments about the season?
I'm just was super happy to be a part of this cast. That introduced me to the community. I will vouch for this cast until
the alleged best cast in all of LRGs.
Well, it's fucking up there for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, that's even without me in it. I think it's a great cast. And I think super great gameplay, super great people, and I'm just super happy to have been a part of it.
And we were super happy to have you on the podcast. Thank you very much. Later this week, 2 podcasts this week as we try and do all of the content that I want to do now that I'm doing 5 episodes for this program. Before we get to the fabulous start of Canberra Season 3, Canberra vs. the World, at the end of this month. Before that starts, we'll have to do a draft, which we will do in the last week of this month. But before that, later this week on Thursday, I will be doing the deep dive with Sam. We're fantastic to get all his input into the game and hear about what an important piece of the puzzle Jazz was to his game. I'm sure we'll hear that ad nauseum, as well as many other fascinating facts of what he learned from running his own season and how much of an advantage that was. And I'm sure I won't talk at all about how I picked him to win from the start of the game.
Never mention it once.
I won't at all. And then we will have the special interview, the special episode this season. Thank you to Dani, has hooked up a deep dive with Kristie. I'm very excited. Thank you, Dani, for that. I'm very excited to be chatting with Kristie about why on earth someone who won the actual Survivor would sign up sight unseen to an LRG.
Because she loves Survivor. She is a super fan.
This LRG didn't even have a base to choose from. You could have signed up for one of the ones that have been going for a couple of years to know what you're getting into. It seems like a bold decision. And
she's not traveling to another state to play another state LRG.
Canberra's not that far. Canberra's not that far away. Come on. And then we'll be doing the tea party. Everybody loves the tea party. And on the tea party, we will have Michelle, who is here commenting along at length. It'll be great to hear about all her paranoia from the Facebook group. We'll have Leah. I'm sure she'll tell us about her butterfly fears. And, of course, the first ever Bromelo medalist, Ethan Bromelo, the Orca. He's not the OG Orca because sort of that's Wolf, but he's the sort of official first medal winner, OG Orca, will be appearing on the tea party. And then, of course, we'll wrap the coverage up with the awards, which you can go and vote for now. And equally, we will be doing a catch-up with Eli and possibly Who's this other guy that he's mentioned to me? Who do you think?
Felix?
Who?
Byron.
Yes, Byron,
Oh, Byron.
may be available for it also.
He'd be a great brain to pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very excited to be catching up with them and all of the people we're catching up with our coverage. Joseph, don't be dismayed. I have a plan to interview you at some point in the future, so don't be worried that you didn't get on any of the coverage.
Are we going to cover the Cayman Islands?
I'm not going to do that, but
that's Joseph's LRG.
Well, there would be coverage being done by probably one of the other the like American LRG podcasts.
Just think about it. Think about it.
If they're not doing it, because those guys were doing all the real foot stuff.
Yeah.
I know, but he's ours.
You put so's Ethan and Matt.
I mean, he's the host.
Oh,
hang on, what?
Joseph, no, he's not a player. No, like I'm talking about Survivor Cayman Islands as Joseph as the host.
Oh, I didn't know this. Joseph has his own season?
Yes, he's created his own Cayman Islands Survivor.
Oh, yeah, we can absolutely cover that. Sorry, I thought this was another season he played in.
No. He's in Marooned, that's currently airing now. But no, he's filmed and he was the host of Survivor Cayman Islands.
Okay, well, it's going to be a little bit frustrating to watch, but it's going to be the best fucking looking LRG and the fucking Cayman Islands. The beach, the water, it's going to be stunning. Yeah. But yes, we can cover that. Absolutely. I didn't know that was the case. We can certainly put our hands up for that. I'm sure the Americans will be fine with that. But I do have a planned interview later, Joseph, for a series I will be doing at some point in the future. But that is it for this coverage. Thank you so much, Jules and Dani, for is 3 hours our longest?
Yeah, we went over 3 hours for one of them.
Did we?
Warren Dirt, you guys went on forever.
Yeah, we talked for ages on Warren Dirt.
And I wasn't even there.
Did you listen to it after the fact?
You need me to direct you back on. Who would have thought me of all people is the one directing you onto the path?
You're the captain now. You have to do the notes. And you run the program.
Give me the host control so I can kick you off.
No, you guys went too wild with that when you had Ethan on it. You guys weren't comfortable with that. You can't be trusted. Okay. Thank you all. Tune in on Thursday when I catch up with Sam. It's going to be fantastic. Much love to everyone that was here live and that's listened off the fact. Thank you so much.